Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft, here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, after the show yesterday, I figured out why he was so happy for 2.5 hours yesterday. Because he realizes Mike McCarthy is not the right choice for my team.
You said it.
And you were all ecstatic. He's a great choice.
No. I said he's a good choice. But you like, nah.
So I slept on it.
Yeah.
I'm still like,
Still there?
Yep, still there.
But
tried.
He seems to be the only coach that can win in that building. That might be why Jerry got him, Skip.
I think that's the only reason.
That is true, and we have plenty to get to today. Are all signs pointing to Tom Brady leaving New England? And will it be the Lakers' defense that propels LeBron to another title? Yeah, we're talking about defense, but first we do have to talk a little bit more about the new coach in Dallas. We are now getting a glimpse into what things will be looking like for the Cowboys under Mike McCarthy. McCarthy is reportedly set to hire current Saints linebackers coach Mike Nolan as his defensive coordinator. On the other side of the ball, McCarthy reportedly likes Cowboys' current offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, and is open to keeping him on staff in some capacity. So, Shannon, how will the McCarthy regime work?
Well, Skip, he's going to have to work like all the other regimes work, under Jerry rules. I mean, that make it seem like Mike McCarthy is going to come in there, Skip, is going to wipe all the walls down. He's going to be the only voice. He's not going to be the only voice. There's been only one instance, maybe two slightly. And at the end, Parcells even wasn't the only voice. But it was mainly Jimmy. That was it, Skip. I mean, they make it seem like Mike McCarthy, Mike's going to clean this up. No, he's not.
Yep.
Jerry's made it abundantly clear. This is my team. I pay the bills. I'm going to have a say. I'm going to speak. I'm going to talk. I'm going to do what I want to do. So I don't know where they get this notion from all of a sudden Jerry's going to change because he's hired a different coach. Skip, look, I do believe this is a good hiring. I'm not saying great. It's a solid. It's not splash. He's old, but he's not old in the sense of years. But I'm saying he's people know Mike McCarthy. He was the head coach of the Packers for 13 years.
Sure.
Yep.
He has a nice resume. He's won a Super Bowl. He's gone to playoffs. He has multiple double-digit win seasons, Skip. He's won rounds in the playoffs. So that's instant credibility right there. No matter if you're a coach or a player, Skip, if you have that Super Bowl ring, you come with instant credibility. He brings that into the locker room.
Okay.
So he's a different voice, and maybe that's what they need, Skip. Maybe after 9 years or 10 years of Jason Garrett, it had grown stagnant. I know it grown stagnant with you. It grown stagnant with you after like 2 or 3 years. Your hating self. Yeah. But anyway.
My objective.
The biggest task that I believe Mike McCarthy has before him, Skip, is he's got to convince the Cowboys that your reputation doesn't win you ball games. When Mike Shanahan, when he first came, he was offensive coordinator for 49ers, Skip, in 94. They won the Super Bowl. He came to us and we got 95. And he said the very first meeting, guys, I expect us to win games. Not because of who we are, but because of how we prepare. Because of how we do things. And from that point on, Skip, it wasn't like, if the defense can hold them to 17 and we get a break here, we get a break there, we can win the ball game. We took the field every single week. We didn't win every week, but we expected to win. The Cowboys need to have that level. Skip, you can't, we're the Cowboys. No, that's not good enough. You don't get to roll the ball like this and say, we the Cowboys, we're going to win. But he has to change the mentality. Even Jerry. Jerry thinks, Skip, we got a lot of talent. Everybody's talented. Do you realize everybody in this league is talented? Now, some teams have a little more than others, but every team is talented. But you don't play your best football, Jerry. You found that out this year. You go 8-8. So Mike McCarthy has his hands full, Skip. First of all, changing the mentality in that locker room and then dealing with Jerry. How does he deal with Jerry? Because it's easy to say, Skip, I'm going to just tune him out. But how do you tune him out, Skip, when you're talking to the team after the game and the media scrum outside is talking to Jerry outside of the locker room and he's talking louder than you're talking inside of the dressing room?
Is that all?
That's all.
Thank you. I want to make it clear. I still love my football team the way I've loved it since I was 10 years old and went to my first game in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
But I'm right where I was 24 hours ago when we got hit out of the blue with the Jay Glazer report that Mike McCarthy had been hired as the next head coach of my Dallas Cowboys. And what was my first reaction to you? It's not bad. That is classic damning with faint praise. That's what you call that. It's not bad. And then a little later yesterday, I heard that predictably, Mike McCarthy had hired his old friend and longtime defensive coordinator, Mike Nolan, to be the next Cowboy defensive coordinator.
Well, Mike Nolan was the head coach when Mike McCarthy was offensive coordinator at 49ers.
He owed him a favor,
Okay.
and he just returned the favor.
Yeah.
And what was my reaction in the afternoon to that? Not bad.
Yeah.
Damning with faint praise. So, I told you yesterday, this football team needed a shake-it-up move. It needed a splash. It needed a wow. It needed somebody who could come in and light a fire under a soft, underachieving 8-8 football team. It needed your idea of Sean Payton. I said, why not bring Bill Cowher out of retirement? How about, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in New England? How about Bill Belichick? How about the guy who still works here named Urban Meyer, who could have been Jerry Jones's next Jimmy Johnson? Mm-hmm. It's high risk, but it could be the highest reward. Right. I love Urban Meyer. He did nothing but incredible things at Utah and at Florida and at Ohio State. And who knows what he might do if you handed him over a talented pro football team. He would light a fire. It would be a new sense of urgency. He would go in there and change the culture. Mm. Instead, here I go with a Mike McCarthy who, frankly, makes Jason Garrett look like a dynamic motivator. His personality is far less than Jason Garrett's was. Am I right?
Yeah.
He's kind of a zero as a personality, right? And the harder I look at what he did in Green Bay, when Aaron Rodgers was as great as you said that Aaron Rodgers used to be, when he was great, Mike McCarthy was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So he went along for a great ride with him.
He did. And when Aaron Rodgers began to clearly decline over the last 4 years, Mike McCarthy looked more and more ordinary to me. Mm. He looked like some guy who played tight end at something called Baker College in rural Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
And came out of nowhere to this. And now I look at, wait a second, over the last 4 years that he was the head coach in Green Bay, his team was 17th in the NFL in yards gained and 14th in points scored. Is that great? Is that going to change life in Dallas? We didn't need to fix the offense. We needed to fix the culture and the defense.
Right.
So now I look back today at the Bleacher Report story. Remember the expose of last April about why did Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy fall apart and Mike McCarthy got fired? Reason number one was, and I'm going to quote the article, his scheme went stale and he did not adapt. Yikes, really? Okay. And one personnel man said that Mike McCarthy got, quote unquote, full of his own juice, like he started to really feel himself, and that he checked out and that he lost his enthusiasm to the point that during Saturday walkthroughs in his last season, he was getting a massage. Yeah. He sneaked upstairs to his office and sneaked the masseuse up the back stairs to his office, and he got himself a massage. And the article says, Aaron Rodgers not pleased with that, and I don't blame him for that one, right?
I mean, I like a good massage too, but not at work.
Not at work.
Well, thank you.
Not on Saturday before one of 16 games, right? Okay, and this is the worst of all. The article says that when McCarthy was first hired by Ted Thompson, the former GM of the Packers, that he was called Pittsburgh Macho. Mike McCarthy grew up in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. But there's another counter quote from a personnel director who says the truth is that Mike McCarthy is a fake tough guy.
Oh!
Fake tough guy. And there's quote after quote in the Bleacher Report article from players inside, from coaches inside, who say that Mike McCarthy created a soft culture in Green Bay. It was all offense with no emphasis on defense. And by the way, over the last 4 years, nobody threw the football more than Green Bay did. They were number one in passes attempted. So it was all throwing with no emphasis on the defensive mindset. And there's quotes from defensive players who said he just ignored the defense and had no use for us, and we had to sort of do it ourselves. But the emphasis was all on Aaron Rodgers throwing the football. Meet the new coach, same as the old coach. This is Jason Garrett all over again. I'm sorry. That's who you just hired. You hired a more successful Jason Garrett. He did get to and win one Super Bowl 10 years ago.
Correct.
10 years ago. On the coattails of Aaron Rodgers, who at that point was at his peak to me. They went on a very improbable wild card run on the road all the way to the Super Bowl, and they won it. But I'm saying, wait a second. Soft culture, got full of himself, checked out, and now what? Well, now we're told that he spent this offseason going second, third level analytics, that he created what he calls the McCarthy file up in his place up in Green Bay as he took the season off, and that he's bringing...
He might want to change that.
Yeah.
The McCarthy file from the 1950s, there'd be a lot of movie stars in Hollywood who would not want to be in the McCarthy file, right? But he should change that name. I agree with that. I was surprised you knew that, but that's very good. Very good on your part. I didn't think you were old enough to know that.
Yeah, I was a history major.
Okay, but remember this. Under Favre and Rodgers, or with those two guys, as they took off, then Mike McCarthy is very good at befriending the key people in the national media. So some of the biggest national reporters are close with Mike McCarthy. Some of the biggest national broadcast commentators, on network commentators, they love what Mike McCarthy did early on in Green Bay. So now this story is being written all over the place. Oh, he went and he got unstale sort of in the offseason. He figured out how to assemble a new analytics team, and it was even reported at one point that he said he wanted to talk to that. Do you know Jeopardy James? I'm a big Jeopardy fan. So
James Holzer. Yes,
he's coming back this week, and they're having a
Ken Jennings and the other guy.
Clash of the Titans, and it's this week in prime time on Jeopardy. Way to go!
I think Dean is the other guy.
Yeah, I'll be watching that for sure. But he was even saying, I want to talk to him about maybe helping us or joining us on the analytics side in Dallas. Okay, so I'm sure this sold well to Jerry Jones.
Yes.
He was like, aha.
Yeah.
Oh, so you've rediscovered how to attack on offense. Well, we didn't need to re-attack on offense. That was the one thing that was working really well. We needed a new mindset, a new culture.
Yes.
And you're bringing this? I don't get it. I'm lost on this.
Let me tell you what works better than analytics. Execution.
Well, that works, yeah.
John Harbaugh has a guy that's an analytics guy that's standing next to him. And they go for it probably more than anybody on fourth down. But you can go for it all you want to. It's Lamar Jackson in the offense that's executing. Skip, this is like, it's better threes are better than twos if you're making them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All these analytics works fine.
True.
Oh, Skip, you should go for it here. If you do this, there's a greater chance if you execute properly. If you execute the play, because think about it, Skip, all these championships that were won in baseball, basketball, and football, before analytics, it came down to execution. You still have to execute, Skip. I don't care what the analytics tell you.
Or just talent prevailing.
Skip, there's a 60% chance if you go for it on fourth down in this spot, you're going to win the game. Okay? Execution. If you get it. Lamar Jackson going for it on fourth down, Skip, we see that a lot. Goal-to-goal situation, inside the 50-yard line. Yes, because you got a guy that's going to execute the play that you call. At some point in time, Mike McCarthy, all the analytics going to come down to this. Did Dak execute the play that you called?
Okay.
Did Zeke pick up that first down? That's what it's going to come down to.
Okay.
Your players are going to have to make plays.
Yeah,
and when the player...
by the way, in your game, it often comes down to desire.
Yeah. A play.
Fire.
Yes.
Right?
Normally in football, it still will come down to a play here or there.
Sure.
Because, Skip, no 3rd and 10, it wasn't no analytics.
Yeah.
It was Tom Brady executing 3rd and 10 in Kansas City. You throw out analytics.
Agreed.
It comes down to execution.
Okay. So I'm going to give Jerry high marks in only this area. If you want to talk about extreme NFL experience,
yes,
he just acquired that.
Right.
Okay.
Because if you take Mike McCarthy's 300 games as a head coach and coordinator in this league,
right,
and you take Mike Nolan's 343 games as a head coach, and he was a head coach for, 5 years in San Francisco?
San Fran, yeah.
And as longtime defensive coordinator, he was all over the place as a coordinator. If you take all of his games, he's 343. So 300 plus 343, that's 643 games of pure NFL experience as a head coach or coordinator. That's at the highest level.
Right.
Mike McCarthy was 10-8, or is 10-8 in the postseason, and Mike Nolan is 3-4, but he was in the championship game as the Atlanta defensive coordinator against Seattle.
Right.
Remember that one that they lost at home? So he's 3-4, but that's a ton of experience. In fact,
no, they beat Atlanta.
I'm sorry, they did beat Atlanta. That's to get to
San Francisco.
Yes. Okay, so that was San Francisco.
San Francisco came there and beat them.
They did, but he was the Atlanta defensive coordinator at that point. Okay, so the point is, I think in combined experience, if I'm not missing someone, that would be second only to Belichick and Josh McDaniels in overall head coach, coordinator experience. Okay, so when they go to game plan for game one next year, they've been there and done a lot of that, right?
Yes, Skip. I know Mike. I know Mike Nolan very well. He was the linebackers coach when I first got to Denver under Dan Reeves.
Okay.
In my last year in Baltimore, he was the receivers coach. And then when Marvin Lewis left, he became the DC.
Okay.
And then when he left, Rex became the DC.
Yep. Okay.
So all those guys were on a staff together.
Okay.
So I know.
Your view of Mike is what?
I like Mike Nolan. He's very, very thorough. Now, Skip, for me, I think he likes the base out of a 3-4, which is they don't have 3-4 personnel because he learned on Wade Phillips. Wade is a 3-4 guy.
Yep.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Skip, he ran a 3-4 defense when he was in San Francisco. Now he was the linebackers coach in New Orleans the last 3 years under Dennis Allen. But he's solid. He knows his stuff. He'll be thorough. He'll be prepared. But Skip, football, especially on the defensive side, is about wanting to. Because you have a man that's trying to move you against your will. Can you get off the block and make a play? Can you beat that guy? Okay, the quarterback has the ball. Skip, we need to get off the field.
Yep.
It's 3rd and 6. Who's going to beat their guy and get the quarterback on the ground or make him hurry a throw to get us off the field? That's what that comes down to. Now, we can get all exotic because, we're talking about the first 8 games. We're going to talk about the Patriots a little later. We're talking about historic. And then you look at the last 9 games they played, Skip. The difference was they couldn't get off blocks. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't get off the field.
Okay. So what do you see routinely from a Greg Williams coach defense all the way back to the Bounty Bowl?
They're going to get after you now.
Extreme physicality.
Yeah, they're going to get after you.
Extreme urgency and desire and fire. They just come out of the locker room. He has them almost too ready to play because they're going to go into some gray areas to beat you, right? Okay, that's the flip side to me of Mike Nolan, who's more of a technician. He's incredibly sound. I knew his father very well. Dick Nolan, who played with Tom Landry in the secondary for the Giants. They were very close. And then Dick Nolan became one of the first defensive coordinators of the Dallas Cowboys in the 1960s. And then he went on to become a very successful head coach of the 49ers in the early 70s. They kept losing to Dallas in the championship game. And then he went on to coach Archie Manning in New Orleans. Not very successfully, but again, he had a long run as a head coach. So Mike Nolan he's not a chip off the old block because his dad was a tough guy. I played golf with him a lot, and he didn't say much, but he was a tough guy, chain smoker, But Mike's a good guy, but he has NFL heritage. He grew up in NFL locker rooms.
He absolutely
So
did.
he has been around for the longest time. So you've got 2 guys where Jerry's going to say, I got guys who know how to do this.
Right.
Well, are they going to create a new culture in Dallas? I don't know. I think they're going to completely revamp schemes. We got a new West Coast offense coming in. And to your point, I don't know if he's going to try to install a 3-4. Maybe we're missing something. Maybe it's
I don't know if he
Antoine Woods at the nose and
put D-Law at the 5 technique.
Maybe.
But he seemed more like a 9 technique, which is a 7 or a rush in. It's going to be very interesting, Skip. But I like the change of offense. And we're going to talk about this a little later, but it's going to be very interesting to see. Because you said you don't like McCarthy because he seemed to be blah, but you love blah. You love the San Antonio Spurs. They blah. You love the Spurs. So they hired a guy that's blah.
That coach isn't
They
that
had
blah.
some of the greatest teams in the history of the NBA.
But they were blah. He might turn out to be having.
You're talking about blah.
The
They
Spurs.
were hard-nosed. Hey,
Blah.
Ginobili would get after you. Tim Duncan, he didn't show fire, but he played with fire.
Skip. They were some of the worst viewed games in which they were in the finals.
Okay, but hey, don't get me started on that. Any given night, you would see Ginobili or Parker do something you've never seen before. That's how broccoli they were.
Okay, but how about this here? What if you see something, what if you see something from the Cowboys that you haven't seen in, say, 3-4 years with McCarthy at that?
Well, I will not see that.
You don't
I promise you I will
haven't
not
seen
see
it
that.
yet, Skip. He ain't coached one down yet.
I saw it.
He ain't even had a press conference.
I mean, if Dak turns into Aaron Rodgers of 8 and 10 years ago, they'll have something.
He better hope he's Aaron Rodgers of last year.
Yeah. Oh, well, if he's last year, then we'll go
26 and 3. You better hope he's 20.
Yeah.
Hold on.
This year or 2 years
Hold on.
ago?
What's Aaron Rodgers' record?
Right now?
Yeah.
He went along for a great
Don't
ride.
do that. See, there you go.
I mean, Aaron Jones was the MVP of that team.
Don't do that, Skip.
Well, he's in decline.
No,
Clearly, we're going to talk about this later, but
we'll
he's
talk
just
about him.
severely in decline. And for once, magic happened. They got every bounce, every roll, everything broke correctly for that football team. And they somehow won games that the Cowboys somehow lost. And you kept saying, how did Dallas lose that game? I don't know.
Because
Yeah.
you know why. All-time great.
Well, maybe it was new coaching staff. Maybe it was Matt LaFleur. Maybe it was the defensive mindset this year was different.
Well, you definitely, Skip. You know they held on to Dom Capers far too long.
Okay.
Mike Patton.
I like Mike Patton. I like what he did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you see the way they play as opposed to the way they play. But the biggest thing is when I got free agents. Zadarius, Preston Smith, Amos. That's what they wouldn't do in years past. Oh, we're going to draft guys. We're going to develop guys. You wasted 7-8 years of Aaron Rodgers' time talking about you developing. No, you better go out there and get you somebody.
Okay. So, Mike McCarthy, I think, will get along just fine with Jerry Jones because I think he will love being the head coach of America's team.
Yeah.
And I believe he will say and do all the right things to keep Jerry happy.
Hey, like
and I
all
think
of them
he
do.
knew full well his eyes were wide open coming into this, and I think he believes he can handle Jerry. Everybody believes they can handle
Thank you.
Jerry until about game 4. You know,
It's easy to handle Jerry right now, because guess what? Don't nobody really want to talk to Jerry. Ain't no team, ain't no practice, ain't nothing going on right now.
Yeah.
He probably laying up in the house in Jerry's guest bedroom like, man, I'm sleeping in Jerry Jones' house. Man, he ain't even thinking about the coaches. Man, I'm sleeping at Jerry Jones' house. This is so cool.
I want more info about that sleepover. I want to know what went down.
well, I got a lot.
You slept over
later
too.
in the show.
I
You
do.
probably slept over right in your
did
book.
not sleep over.
Right down the hall. Knock
I told
on
you, I
Jerry.
got called over for a lunch in which I got read the Riot Act.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
How
a
did that
tough
end?
lunch.
How did it end? The
With
lunch.
me saying, I'm sorry, I'm out. And I left.
Have you
And
been back since?
I have not
Okay.
been asked back. Not once. So, Mike McCarthy's big welcome to Dallas press conference. He'll just be a bump on the log while Jerry dominates, and Mike McCarthy will be just fine with that because he has far less personality than Jason Garrett.
But I thought he was going to handle Jerry. He'll be able to handle Jerry.
Well, that's how you handle it. You just shut up and let him talk.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
Okay? So Jerry will dominate that press conference.
Absolutely.
All the best quotes will come from Jerry.
All the press conferences are about Jerry.
They are. Well, as soon as the game ends, everybody's looking for Jerry.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dak threw for 500 yards.
Yeah. They're not looking for Dak.
Jerry, what do you think, Jerry?
They're not looking for Zeke. They're not looking for Amari. They're looking for Jerry.
Because Jerry is going to give you an honest assessment of what he saw. Jason Garrett was going to give you coaches speak. So they want honesty, they go to Jerry.
Yeah.
Just like Chicago, just outside of when they lost to New England. Skip, what'd he say? He was seething.
Can you remember one thing Mike McCarthy ever said
No.
as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers?
No.
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 Thank you.
Trying to think of some notable examples. And I couldn't come up with anything.
No mercy.
Well, guys, Tom Brady's future remains in question, and one anonymous NFL exec thinks all signs are pointing to an exit from New England. The exec believes that Brady negotiated his contract to expire after this season because, quote, Brady got to the point where he'd had enough. It wasn't as fun. So, Shannon, your reaction to this?
Hold on, wait a minute.
Not as
It
fun?
wasn't fun
Nope.
anymore. He negotiated his contract. Jenny, if I'm not mistaken, and I looked this up 4 times, Tom Brady renegotiated his contract in August. In February, he won his 6th Super Bowl. Now, with Lane Johnson, they ripped Lane Johnson when he said they seem robotic. They're not having fun. They're winning, but they're not having fun. Tom Brady and a lot of other Patriots, winning is fun. Coach Belichick even took a shot after they beat the Philadelphia Eagles this year. Well, that was sure fun. Making reference to winning. Now, all of a sudden, Tom Brady renegotiated his contract, get out of it after a year because he wasn't having fun. Everybody, I'm trying to rack my brain. I've been following football, professional sports, not just football, but professional sports for a long time. And I can honestly say, and I got a photographic memory, I can't recall people that have made so many excuses for why a player didn't have success. Not Jenny, he wasn't having fun. Or he had a foot injury. It's a report he had to dealing with a foot injury. He had an elbow injury. It's all these excuses, except Tom Brady's getting old and he's not the same guy anymore. Simple as that. And it's okay. It happens. Because you're telling me now, if Tom Brady, they say, well, give him some help. If the guy that we coined the phrase for, he does more with less, can't do it with the same tier player that he once could, obviously he's not the same. That's what one would deduce from that statement. Stop making all these excuses. Now it's not fun anymore. You just won the Super Bowl 5 months earlier. His 6th Super Bowl, and now he's not having fun. It comes down to we got to find a reason why Tom Brady's season didn't go as well as we thought it would. Maybe it's not he's not having fun. Maybe it's the heel. Maybe it's his elbow. Yeah, it's the receivers. It's yada, yada, yada. He's 42. It happens to everybody, Skip. This is some and remember, Jenny, earlier, they lost to the Ravens. There was some anonymous exec.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Brady, Bill didn't want to show everything.
Saving it.
Yeah, we were saving it. He didn't want to show everything. Anytime the Patriots...
That was on defense, not on offense.
Whoa, Skip.
No, not
Fair.
whoa. It's just what he coaches. He doesn't coach offense. So don't whoa, accept it.
No, they said...
Belichick didn't show on defense to Lamar and company what he would show in the championship game.
Okay, so, but Josh McDaniels showed everything. So that's why he only got 20 points, right?
Yeah, I guess
Oh,
so.
okay then.
Yeah.
So there we go again.
But it's hard when you don't have the football, when the other team's running for over 200 yards on your team and controlling the clock.
But when you get the football, what do you do with it?
Well, tell me when it's my turn.
So all I'm saying is, Skip, it's as simple as this. Tom had a disappointing season. It happens. He's not the same Tom Brady. That doesn't mean he's not a good player, but he's not the Tom Brady that we all know and love. And it happens to everybody. Every great player in the history of sports have gone through this transition. Tom Brady just happens to be the next great player that's entering this transition.
Is it my turn?
It's your turn.
Okay, I'm going to say this one more time, and I'm not going to pile on, but you have been wrong about Tom Brady for 4 straight years, and you're going to be wrong about him for a 5th year when he winds up with the Los Angeles Chargers and a real football team next year instead of one built by a coach who has failed him repeatedly.
How he's failed him?
Do you want me? Thank you. Do I have time now? Is it my turn? Is it my turn? Thank you.
You got a couple of minutes.
Because I got a whole lot of ways that Bill Belichick has let down Tom Brady, and it starts 2 years ago with the fact that he tried to go forward with Jimmy Garoppolo. How would you like it? Would you have fun playing for that coach? Tell me, how would you feel? I know your ego. You would not ever have fun playing for that coach.
I'd have been disappointed.
You would know in the back of your mind every step you took on the football field, he didn't want me, he didn't want me, he didn't want me. Am I right?
Yeah. Bitter.
Okay, and all he did after that was to go to one Super Bowl and throw for an all-time playoff record 505 yards and put up 33 points, and then he went back to another Super Bowl and he won that one. Well, that's pretty good after the coach tries to get rid of you, right? Okay, now let's look at the many, many ways that Bill Belichick has been let off the hook for how he has failed as the team builder. Is he not in charge of building this football team?
Everything.
Okay, the first one was just a bad break because they got docked for Deflategate. I'm going to go back to 2016, and they lost their first-round pick.
Right.
And maybe if Belichick had seen fit, he might have been able to go for a receiver or tight end that was on the board when they were going to draft late in the first round. Could have been Hunter Henry, who obviously went to the Chargers. Could have been Sterling Shepard next, who went went to the Giants, who's pretty good.
Skip,
But wait a second, and there's this other guy left on the board in the second round, and I don't think Bill Belichick is good enough drafting receivers to have seen this one coming, but Michael Thomas was on the board at that point.
But you got to realize now, not taking a tight end, Skip, he had Aaron Hernandez rest his soul, whatever he did, and they had Gronk. So why would you take a tight end when you got those two guys on your staff?
But I'm saying Aaron Hernandez was gone by then.
Not in 2016?
Yes, he was. Wasn't he gone by then? I thought he was.
That feels
sure he was
like
gone by 2016.
I'm not sure. I can look it up.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure.
Okay,
he might have was.
Whatever. Okay, so now I'm going to go down all the list of all the receivers Brady had and then did not have.
Okay.
They drafted Aaron Dobson, and I thought he was going to be pretty good, and then he just failed, and they cut him. They went and got Brandon LaFell, and he was pretty good for a while, and then Belichick cut him. And then they had Martellus Bennett for one season, and Belichick said, he's going to be too expensive, I'm going to cut him. Then he had Brandon Cooks, who really had a great run as a Patriot, and he said, I'm not going to pay him. I'm going to take a first-rounder for him and send him to Los Angeles, right? Then he did draft Malcolm Mitchell in the second round, who had one big flash in that Super Bowl comeback against Atlanta. He caught 6 balls for 70 yards, and he got hurt, had a bad knee injury, and was completely gone for his career. Then let's look back at what happened going into that Philly Super Bowl.
Okay.
They had Rob Gronkowski, but they had Edelman, Amendola, and Hogan. And then they had Brandon Cooks, who got hurt in that Super Bowl, but he was still there. And they also had little Deion Lewis on top of James White, on top of Rex Burkhead. That's pretty good, right? And then they had James Devlin at fullback, who had made the Pro Bowl, and he got hurt this year and was not there the whole year. So that's when Tom Brady was at his greatest, because he threw for an all-time playoff record, 505, with that receiving core, because that's a good one, with Gronk leading the charge, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then what happened? Danny Amendola becomes a free agent. Belichick won't pay him, just says go.
Well, Skip, you know he wasn't going to pay him, Skip, because he had already taken a pay cut 2 years in a row just to stay.
Okay, I'm just saying, he's doing this to Tom Brady. You think Brady loved it that he let Danny go?
It's Tom Brady's fault because he took Skip. He took less than market value.
That should mean you get to keep Danny Amendola.
No, he won't do it.
So you had Edelman, Amendola, and Chris Hogan. And as soon as Chris Hogan hits free agency, no, I'm not going to pay him.
Yes.
Okay, so your little three, I'm not going to call them big three because they're like little three, the 3 little white guys who they're all pretty good. Brady trusted all 3 of them. All of a sudden, 2 of them are gone, and then the third one, Edelman, right?
Yeah.
He's the only one this year that Tom Brady trusted. And what happened, Mr. Sharpe, this year to Julian Edelman? He got beat all to hell, and he led the NFL in drops. So your primary target, the only one you trust of all the wide receivers, you can't trust him either because he's going to lead the league in drops, and he had a crucial drop late in the game against Tennessee on Saturday night. Then let's continue, shall we? How about Nick Chubb? He's on the board, and Belichick says, no, I'm going to take his teammate. I'm going to take Sony Michel. I think Nick Chubb's better. I'm sorry, Belichick. You look pretty bad on that one. And then you take N'Keal Harry, and again, I'm not going to be a hypocrite on this because I really like N'Keal Harry, and I applauded Bill Belichick for taking the first receiver in the first round he's ever taken in New England. But wait a second, then A.J. Brown went to Tennessee. Is he good? Is he better than N'Keal Harry? Sure looks like it. How about Debo out in San Francisco? Does he look better? Yes, he does. How about DK Metcalf? How about him? Woo!
Yeah, he looks good.
And then how about Terry McLaurin? Every time I turned on the Redskins game, he was unstoppable, right? Because he can fly.
But Skip, you make it seem like Coach Belichick is not drafting receivers. He's just drafting the wrong receivers. But he's trying to get him some help, Skip. If you look at it, he took N'Keal Harry. He took Mohamed Sanu. Skip, it's not like he's sitting on his hands like, I'm not getting anybody.
But you're taking the wrong one. And I'm going to give all of them high marks. They all said, give us Antonio Brown. And for one game, he caught 4 balls for 56 yards and a touchdown against Miami. Miami. It was 43-0. What a turnaround that was. That was AB in that game, and then the last game of the year they lose at home to Miami, which ended the season.
They got 2 pick sixes. Collins had a pick 6, and Gilmore had a pick 6.
They did. Okay. So then you have a chance. You could go get Emmanuel Sanders. He's playing pretty well for San Francisco, and he got Mohamed Sanu. He's a bust. It was a swing and a miss.
I said it.
You said it.
I don't know why you wouldn't get Emmanuel over Sanu. Emmanuel can still play. Emmanuel is still explosive. That made no sense to me. Now, granted, Skip, I think Mohamed Sanu is a couple of years younger, so maybe that was.
Plus, he's a Rutgers guy,
and
he was a possession receiver.
I don't care about that. You better get some Skip. You got enough possession guys.
Okay.
You better get somebody that's explosive.
Okay.
Get out the
and
field.
then Jacob Hollister, of all those unknown tight ends, he was pretty good because he's catching a lot of balls for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He's like become a clutch go-to guy, right? Belichick traded him. Why? I don't know. For a 7th-round pick, you traded him away. Could he have helped this team this year? You better believe he could. And how about Cordero Patterson? Every time I turned on the Bears, he was doing something sensational.
Well, Skip, he did something sensational for the Patriots.
He did.
But
he's gone.
But when you let
Bill
a guy
said, no, I'm not going to pay him.
But you know when you let a guy get to the open market.
Okay. I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay. And then obviously Gronk retired.
Right.
Okay, look, how can Tom Brady have fun when you strapped him with the worst supporting cast, I believe, of any quarterback in the whole NFL? Let's do Ryan Fitzpatrick. Oh, guess what? That little Devontae Parker, he torched Stephon Gilmore.
He did.
He made him look like he plays cornerback for the University of Oklahoma Sooners. Am I right about that?
He did
on that day.
He got him.
And how about Mike Gesicki, the tight end for the Miami Dolphins? He's really good. He hurt New England.
Yes.
Well, could Brady have used that as the new sort of semi-Gronk?
Yeah.
Yes, he could have.
Yes.
So I'm looking at, what does Tom Brady have? He threw 21 balls to wide receivers on Saturday night. They caught 7. Julian Edelman caught 3 for 30. Julian Edelman has caught 7 or more balls 10 times in playoff games.
Right.
Well, what's happened? He's a broken down shell of himself.
Well, Skip, you said that he's really the only guy that Tom Brady believes in. And when you play the slot, you know you're going to be in a lot of car wrecks.
Okay.
Now, you think about all the playoff games that he's been in and how many times that he's trusted it.
He's high collision.
Yes.
You know this.
Well, the slot, you go.
I know.
But, Skip, you make some very interesting points. But the crux of your argument is flawed, not flawed, but because Tom Brady has always taken less than market value. Skip, if arguably the greatest player in NFL history takes less than market value, how can we play any other position market value?
He was doing it so you could. Okay, then he doesn't have the purse strings.
Right.
He can't make the choice to pay Danny Amendola.
But that's not how Coach Bell, that's not how you're right. I believe Tom Brady says, okay, I'm gonna give money back knowing that there's money in the pool for you to go pay this guy and pay this guy and pay this guy. But that's not how Coach Belichick. Coach Belichick says if I start this precedent where I give a guy that's on my roster market value, then here comes another guy, and then here comes another guy. So he doesn't want to start that precedent. That's why he treats everybody the same. Because if I show you some leniency here, now you're going to expect it, you're going to expect it. So I get your argument, and Tom Brady is right. But Tom, you started this. And this is what we see a lot of teams where Tom Brady is always giving them, and they expect everybody to give hometown discounts. No.
Okay, but Belichick's salary cap is like the NCAA. I don't know where all the money goes to the NCAA. Like they get all these billions of TV dollars. I don't know who gets it.
Yeah.
Where does it go? And with Belichick's salary cap, I say, who does get paid? Yeah. Stephon Gilmore got paid, but after that, I don't know.
But Skip, if you look at their defense, he's really the only guy that's on defense that's making money. And really, Brady's made $23 million this year, but that's no money for a quarterback.
And remember, Chandler Jones is a stud, man. And was he not a stud for Arizona this year?
He was a stud for them. He was the only guy that was consistently going to the Pro Bowl year after year after year. But Coach, he had one incident.
And he said, you're out.
Yes.
You're gone.
Yes.
Okay? So did you see a Chandler Jones on defense down the stretch? They don't have one. They couldn't. What did they do? I think they sacked Ryan Tannehill one time. Okay?
But Skip, it's nice to have a guy that you don't always have to constantly scheme and play zero blitz and bring extra guys. Because when you bring that coverage, Skip, you put a lot of guys in harm's way. Mm-hmm. So if you don't get there, you see what happened, Philly? You went zero blitz. You didn't get there. DK Metcalf gets a 50-yarder, and they're going home. He piecing you out. Okay. And that's what happens. Chandler Jones was a guy that can consistently beat single coverage one-on-one.
Absolutely. And then remember, then Bill Belichick elevates his son, 32-year-old Steve Belichick, to defensive coordinator. Right. Do you think that made Tom Brady happy? It would have if they had closed the deal on defense, but they didn't.
Whoa. You think it made Coach Belichick happy that I can only get 13 points at home? You think that made me happy?
Meanwhile, Derrick Henry was running for 182 yards in a playoff game at Foxborough.
You don't win.
Bill Belichick says, I will take away what you do best.
Hold on. Hold on. What did you tell me about Emmitt Smith? You told Norm Turner said Buffalo Bills knew what they were going to run. But they said it didn't matter. Well, if it didn't matter, it didn't matter.
Okay, but this is Bill Belichick and the Patriots defense that a lot of people thought was historically great for about 7 games. Yeah. And then over the last 10 games, including the playoff loss, they fell to 24th in the league stopping the run.
And who tried to tell you early on they weren't his
Okay, all right, you did. But all this made Tom Brady not happy.
Whoa, right? Hello, Jen?
I wouldn't be happy either.
You just won your 6th Super Bowl. There's no question. 6 Super Bowls.
He does not love the head coach. He wanted the option to get out if he needs to get out, and he has it.
If he didn't like the head coach, he should have, when the head coach tried to move on, not run upstairs and crying and slinging snot on Mr. Kraft's lap and say, well, I'm gone. He don't want me here. Skip, let me tell you what happened. Mike Shannon had tried to trade me twice. Now, the first time he traded me after his first year there, I got wind up. He wanted to trade me, Mike Pritchard, the first-round pick, for Eric Swan. So minicamp rolls around, it's time for us to come back in.
Okay.
I go to his office. I said, Mike, I'm not disappointed that you tried to make the team better. I said, I'm disappointed that you thought you could make the team better without me. I said, I'm the best tight end in the NFL, and I'm going to show you this year. I said, look, yes, I want a contract, but I'm going to show you this year.
Okay.
Because I'm healthy for the first time, no offseason surgeries. I'm going to show you. It's not going to even be close.
Okay, well, Tom Brady showed Belichick by 2 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Okay?
But, Skip, here's the thing. Coach Belichick understands that when you have a great player, and he's been in place for an extended period of time, you better have a bridge. Green Bay had a bridge from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. San Francisco had a bridge between Joe Montana and Steve Young. Skip, everybody doesn't have that luxury. Some teams go 10. Think about it. The Steelers went from Terry Bradshaw and waited until they got to Ben Roethlisberger. Mm-hmm. That was almost 20 years. You go 20 years before you can find that guy. And Coach Belichick believes, I got it right here now. I got him. So in order to do that, Skip, I've got to be able to move on. It's not like, because look, if Steve Young if they had free agency back then, Skip, Steve would have been gone a long time ago because he could have been a starter. Mm-hmm. He was a starter in waiting, but he didn't have any rights.
Did Robert Kraft make the right choice of saying, no, you're going to keep Tom Brady? 2 more Super Bowls happened.
Yeah.
But Coach Belichick said, Coach Belichick believes I still could have got that same result with Jimmy G.
And that's where they will always
baloney.
He said, Bob, guess who got the number 1 seed in the NFC right now? The guy that we could have had. Yeah. Now, Bob, you messed it up now. I need you to start tinkering. Let your boy cook. Let your boy cook, Mr. Bob. That's what he called him. He called him Bob. He said, Bob, let your boy cook. Now, I've been serving him some good dishes for the last 20 years.
I promise you, Robert Kraft is about to do everything in his power to keep Tom Brady and Bill Belichick for next year.
What did he say?
That's what he'll try.
Say some prayers?
Yes,
do some thinking?
We hope and pray that Tom sees fit to stay with us.
He said all the right thing, but Coach Belichick got Tom Brady dog just punching him. You go ahead, you leave it here.
No mercy. The Cowboys have found their man in Mike McCarthy, and former Packers are weighing in. Brett Favre said the players will believe in McCarthy and that he will be good for Dak Prescott. Former Green Bay receiver James Jones also had high praise for his old head coach. Jones said that McCarthy is, quote, the best person to develop Prescott. Jones also said McCarthy was the best option to get the Cowboys back to the Super Bowl. Shannon, do you agree that McCarthy will be good for Dak?
Skip, I don't see him making that big difference. They're speaking like Dak is Baker Mayfield. He should have went to Cleveland. That's what a big difference could have made because Baker had a substantial regression. Dak has improved every single year. So, look, the West Coast offense, I know this offense played in a number of years. Yes, the ball coming out. The West Coast system, Skip, is predicated on 1, 2, 3, get the ball out, put it in your receiver's hands. Hence, you see the receivers that can do Jerry Rice within the West Coast, Sterling Sharpe, guys that can catch the ball, run with it after the catch, do well in this system. Dak, the coach is not going to make Dak more accurate. Skip, Dak threw the ball. And there are plays that Dak had a 12, 15-yard completion, but if he hits the guy in stride, he gets a 30-yard completion. Therein lies the difference. Dak is just a tick more accuracy. And Dak is fine. But I'm going to tell you who's going to reap the biggest benefit from this offense, Skip. If they listen to me, Blake Jarwin.
Really?
You look at guys in the West Coast offense, you look at the tight end. I give you one, Anybody know a guy named George Kittle?
Yes.
He plays in the West Coast. What about Travis Kelce? Shannon Sharpe played in that system. Brett Jones played in that system. That system for that kid, Skip, if that guy...
I'm not sure Blake Jarwin is quite as good as they are, but again, he can benefit. I got that.
If he's as athletic as Dak says he is...
he might be the best athlete on the team.
He's a 75, 80 catch guy.
He could be.
Yes.
In moments, in stretches, I see that.
Yes.
I think you saw it.
Yes. I watched him in, what was that, 2018, Skip, the last game against the Giants. He go 3 touchdowns for over 100 yards.
Shannon Jarwin.
I watched him at the Giants this year, right before the half, take a, 30-yard ball.
Yep.
So
then you watch number 82 get most of the snaps, right?
See, there you go. Skip, I ain't got, look. There's a time and a place for everything.
Yep.
I don't believe this was the time and a place for Jason Witten. Yeah. He wanted to come back. He thought this could be special. Bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
Yeah.
But Skip,
look, a lot for them.
Coaching is not going to make a difference with Dak's accuracy. Maybe they can help him, with Dak, you need to go here and there. The ball's going to come out a lot quicker. And maybe he doesn't have to overthink it. But Skip, the guy threw for almost 5,000 yards. He was 30-11. Okay, so maybe you take 2 or 3 of those interceptions away and you add touchdowns. But they make it seem like Dak got to go through wholesale changes, like we talking about, like the kid Baker Mayfield had a regression. No, Dak is not. Dak, like I said, is just a tick. That's the difference between hitting a guy and he has a 12-yard catch or a 30-yard catch and run. That's where Dak. And if he can help Dak with that, okay. But I don't see this wholesale where they got to change Dak mechanics and they got to change his footwork. And Dak is just they make it seem like Dak is a project. Dak is far from a project. Dak's a damn good quarterback. Yeah, I gave him a D this year. I thought he could have did some things better. But
gave him a bunch of F's.
No, I did. I didn't give him. He earned them, Skip.
Oh, okay.
You come to my class, I give you what you earn. I mean, he did.
Up and down.
He did. He did come.
You gave him some tough
He
grades.
come on he had perfect attendance. So I give you credit for that coming up because it's cold sometimes, and we had some of them Sunday nights you had a tough night. You came to class Monday. But Skip, I believe Mike McCarthy is going to help the Cowboys offense. I just don't see the substantial upgrade where Dak's going to benefit.
By the way, Dak Prescott was second in the NFL in what were deemed catchable passes, so he's pretty accurate. I don't know.
Second.
Just for the record. Now, what is one of the oldest Texas expressions? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I like that.
What's another old Texas expression? Dance with who brung you.
Yeah.
Meaning when you go to the dance, you should dance with who took you to the dance, right? Don't change partners.
Don't change it up?
Stay with who.
It all depends who come in.
Well, I know.
Seriously.
Okay, both applied to what is about to happen to Dak Prescott because he was not broke, to your point.
Okay.
So why would you try to fix him with a whole new offense?
Right.
This is all new verbiage, all new terminology. He's going to have a rough offseason because everything he learned for 4 years just went right out the window.
Yeah.
Every play call is what?
Right.
You know all these play calls. I'm sure they've sort of translated through the years. They've carried across the NFL through the West Coast. But Dak doesn't know any of this.
Right.
And all of a sudden, he's got to start over. So the preseason games become critical to him.
Right.
He's going to have to start wearing the wristband. Like, what? He hears it in his ear, and it's like, what? How does what formation goes to that?
If Dak was in his 13th year, Skip, I say a change of offense because they hear first verbiage does wonders. You hear Aaron Rodgers talking about how it relit a fire. You hear guys that's later in their career. Skip, the guy's 5 years in, about to be 5 years in.
Okay, they put up, in some ways, historic numbers, except for the one number that matters the most, 8-8. So I give you 8-8. You could say that needs to be fixed. But I think that was more of a culture problem. This was a soft, underachieving football team in which too many people got paid.
Right.
Zeke, DeMarcus Lawrence, we can go on, Jalen Smith. But in the big picture, the numbers they put up, they led the league in yards gained. It's not all bad.
Right.
Again, did it translate on the scoreboard? But it's still, it's pretty good. And I told you that one stat of they had 7 wins that are of historic note where they had 30-plus points, 400-plus yards, and they won by 10 or more. And they had 7 of those, and it ranked 5th all time back to 1960. Well, there's something really good happening in there against, again, the rest of that table, down to 15 teams. they all did something like either get to the Super Bowl or the championship game, and this is the only team on the whole list.
Yeah, and most of them won like 11, 12 games.
Correct. Okay, so that didn't translate, but now we're back to Kellen Moore. The news yesterday was that Mike McCarthy is open to keeping Kellen Moore, but Mike McCarthy is going to call the plays. Okay, so you let Dak keep his big brother Kellen, and they're very close, but you've tied his hands.
Right.
He's not going to have any input.
Weird
It's
rule.
Mike McCarthy's offense. It's not what Kellen knows.
No, right, exactly.
He didn't come up in it.
Right.
Right?
Right, correct.
So now Ian Rappaport is reporting that he is considering going to the University of Washington, back to his home state, to be the offensive coordinator there.
I would do that.
I would do that.
Yeah,
because what he's just going to be sitting and watching for most of the year.
I don't want no handout.
Yeah,
He's
right.
learning it like that.
He's got one more year on his contract. And one thing about Jerry Jones, he is very frugal. When he owes you, he usually won't fire you.
Right.
You know, like that the whole offensive staff is under contract. So I'm sure he said, Mike, you got to keep a lot of these guys because I don't want to have to
So
pay
he
him for nothing.
gonna be like Mike Brown, huh?
Yeah, like that. You know what? Jerry's got Mike Brown. He owns a $1 billion yacht, but again, he counts his pennies.
Interesting.
Pinches his pennies. Okay? So I look back at what did Mike McCarthy do in the early 2000s with Aaron Brooks and to a certain extent Jeff Blake in New Orleans. He was pretty good with
They were
them.
bombs away.
Okay, bombs away. Okay, I got it. And that one year where they sort of co-started, they made the playoffs and won a playoff game and lost their second round game.
Right.
Okay, not bad. So he did pretty good things with Aaron Brooks. I don't know if he's really Dak Prescott, but the point is, Dak's got to be sitting back thinking, what exactly did I do wrong last year?
Exactly.
Now we're starting over?
Right.
Really? So it's going to be a whole new voice, a whole new mindset. And he did trust Kellen Moore. And I don't know exactly how many plays Kellen was allowed to call, but probably quite a bit of them. Maybe 80% of them. And all of a sudden, it's all Mike all the time.
Skip, it was reported that when Jerry wouldn't extend Jason Garrett, he says, I want to call plays. Now, you remember his last couple of years, what did Mike McCarthy go back doing what he had given up earlier? He went back to calling plays. So now I think, Skip, because I believe he's going like, okay, yeah, because Jerry probably asked him, are you going to call plays or are you going to delegate? Oh, no, Jerry, I'm going to call plays. Skip, that's a lot on your plate. There are very few head coaches. You know, Kyle Shanahan does it, Sean McVay, Sean Payton. They're very
Andy Reid.
Yep. Guess what? All of them in the West Coast. for the most part,
They are.
In the West Coast, because Sean McVay is from the West Coast because he learned under Shanahan.
Yep.
Call plays. Is he going to start out calling plays and eventually turn that over to someone else, or is he going to continuously call plays throughout?
I think he has a big ego and he wants to call plays. And he's been successful enough for long stretches.
And he wanted to show, I'm more than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's
He wanted to show, I'm more than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Similar
You know,
dynamic.
it's kind of a Belichick
It is.
Brady
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Where, okay, I'm going to show you now. You got me run out of Green Bay. I'm going to show you what happens in Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. I just don't love it because you're trying to fix the one thing that didn't need to be fixed.
Yeah.
Right?
But you hear him talking, he'll work wonders with Dak. That makes it seem like Dak's a project, Skip. Like he's a beat down jalopy that you got to get new tires and new engine up. The dude threw for almost 5,000 with
How
30
hard
touchdowns.
is it really, though, to relearn a new system? I mean, it seems like a basic question, but have you seen it done successfully?
It's hard because I spent all my time in the West Coast. I go as a free agent to Baltimore, and now things mean different things. 50 protection in Denver meant I was blocking. 50 protection in Baltimore meant I was releasing. 70 protection in Baltimore, I was blocking, and 70 protection in Denver, I was releasing. So you got to. So what you try and do is try to equate things. Okay, he called this Chevy. That's a corner route, wall route, short cross. So you try to equate things that what you've heard. But I can do that, Skip, because I only got one route. He got to equate 3 different routes. He got X receiver, Y receiver, Z.
Okay, so we thought originally Jerry considered this a team on the verge. It's ready.
Right.
It just needs the right components at the top.
Correct.
Head coach and defensive coordinator.
Right.
And now, instead of bringing in solid, you called them solid, you're bringing in total different new systems on both sides of the ball with the team on the verge.
Right.
I don't know. This could go the wrong way.
Yeah.
I'm surprised because when the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken, Skip, the Steelers, when Coach Cowell left, I think the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator stayed when Mike Tomlin came.
Well, LeBeau, was he?
LeBeau was the D coordinator. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I think it might have been Wisenhunt. Wisenhunt might have left because he didn't get the job. He got passed over.
Maybe.
And he did, because I think he ended up leaving, and Bruce Arians took over.
Well, that wasn't a bad deal.
All right.
But the offense stayed basically intact.
Yes.
Is what I'm saying. So why not leave the offense intact?
I don't know.
Dak's got a busy offseason, to say the least.
I'm not sure Jerry considered all
I don't know. And now I hadn't even thought about it really.
It's easier for one person to learn an offense than 25.
Yeah.
Because you got 25 guys got to learn a new offense as opposed to the head coach.
No mercy. LeBron James notched his 9th triple-double of the season, but it was the defense that stole the show in Sunday night's win over the Pistons. The Lakers had 20 blocks, which were the most by any team in almost 20 years. Anthony Davis led the way with a season-high 8 blocks. How about that, AD? Shannon, how impressive was the 20-block game by the Lakers?
How we doing?
We're doing good.
Before I go, Skip, I don't know if you noticed this, but can you tell the people at home who was the first Western Conference Player of the Week of 2020?
Oh.
Doncic or?
No.
Tell us?
Old GOAT. Pick right up where he left off.
He is kind of an old GOAT.
The old GOAT, James.
Old GOAT.
Yeah.
Skip, it just goes to show you how good they can be defensively. But I'm not surprised, Skip. I think people, when you look at Dwight, go backwards. Dwight Howard is the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Dwight Howard is one of the preeminent defensive players in the history of the NBA.
He's been extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
Yep, and now they're going to guarantee his deal, and they should.
And they gave him a specific task.
Yep.
Challenge everything, rebound. If you score, it's a bonus. None of those. And he's been one of the great teammates, Skip. You see him on the sideline, and everybody that does something good, he's up and he's excited. JaVale McGee is a 7-footer. Now, he's not the greatest on-ball defender, but weak side help, he's challenging all things at the rim. And he understands you're going to get on a lot of posters because some guy's going to catch you sometimes. But he's going to block a lot of shots. 20 minutes, 6 blocks. And then AD. He's another guy with JaVale. JaVale, rebound, challenge all things. Anything you give us on the offensive end is a bonus. Now, here's where it gets a little complicated, but this is the greatness of Anthony Davis. AD, we need between 25 and 30 a night. We need somewhere between 9 and 11 rebounds a night, and we need you to challenge all things. He said, I got you. That's why right now he's the Defensive Player of the Year. On everybody, big boy. Yeah, Skip. So I'm not surprised. And I'm like, because I think it was about 6 weeks ago, Skip, they had 14 blocks. And I'm like, damn, that's a lot of blocked shots. And then the 20? Let's just go to show. And we got guys on ball. Avery Bradley, he's a difference maker. I hope that ankle, dang, he can't. Woo, if he could just, Skip, he about to get a layup. And he just steps the wrong way and it rolls over his own. Ooh, I was like, come on. And then Danny Green knocking out 3-and-D guy. So I'm not surprised that where we are, because we have guys that know their roles, Skip. Whereas LeBron last year, young guys, Skip, ain't nobody trying to play no D. Because you make a name for yourself doing what? Because if you look at Kawhi Leonard don't play any defense better than he did back in his past. But what can he do now, Skip? He can score. Paul George play defense. What can he do? He can score. Only Patrick Beverley has kind of made a name for himself just playing solely defense. And now Doc has turned the reins over to him, letting him run the offense. Yep. So, Skip, I'm not surprised. We 4th in defensive efficiency. We 4th in second chance point. You might get an offensive rebound, but put it back up. I dare you. We're going to throw it up in the stands. Get it out!
Get it out. Interesting.
Hey, go.
So, is it my turn now?
It's your turn.
Thank you. So, my problem with the 20-block game on Sunday night was that despite all those blocks, the Lakers almost lost to the 13-24 Detroit Pistons, who were without Blake Griffin and Reggie Jackson and Luke Kennard and Markieff Morris. That's 4 starters are out, and Detroit almost came back despite 20 blocks to beat them?
Yeah, they shot 35 free throws.
Okay. Well, let's see what happened in the fourth quarter, because LeBron James was part of a 15-0 LA Laker run to start the fourth quarter. 15-0. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And LeBron made a layup at 11:07 left in the game. And then that they were on their way to being up by 11 points at that point. And then could we see what started happening to LeBron down the stretch of this Sunday night game?
Skip, this is about the defense.
He missed a 20-footer there with 10 minutes left. Then he misses a layup. He did like an up and up. How can you miss a layup?
Skip, this is my defense.
Now there's a turnover. He just dribbles the ball in traffic.
Yeah.
Then he winds up missing a free throw to tie the game. I'm talking. Misses a free throw to tie the game, and then with the game tied, he misses another 20-footer, and then he misses a three with 2:03 left, and then he winds up missing a 20-foot jumper trying to slam the door with 45 seconds left. I'm sorry that went so fast, but it was just it's a montage of badness from LeBron James.
Skip, that was not the question.
Yeah, it's what happened with 20 blocks. It still came down to that, where they came back and led the game by a point with, what time was the free throw? 6:44 left. All of a sudden, Detroit's ahead, and LeBron is shooting a free throw to tie, and he nearly airballs it. It barely touches the front of the rim.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, Skip, because I was not going to even do this. Did you know LeBron James had a higher plus than the other four starters combined? He had a plus 23.
Yeah.
With LeBron on the court, Jenny, he had a plus 23, and he won by 7.
Here's the bottom line to the fourth quarter. In the final 11 minutes and 7 seconds of the game, LeBron James made 1 of 2 free throws. He had 1 late dunk, and he scored 3 total points over the last 11:07 of a game the Pistons minus 4 starters almost came back and won at Staples Center with 20 blocks. How do you explain that, Shannon? That's pretty pathetic, actually.
Win?
That's kind of scary.
Did they win?
They finally pulled away late, shooting free throws to win by 6.
I know a
Way
team,
to go.
I know a team that played in that same building that got booed off the court.
We're changing the subject. You're not answering my question.
Hold on, Skip.
How could you? It's a 20-block game, and you almost lost to the lowly Pistons.
Whoa.
And there's no Blake, and there's no Reggie, and there's no Luke Kennard, and there's no Markieff, and you almost lost?
The team that plays in the basement give up 140. And they almost got beat again. They gave up 132.
The subject.
You changed the subject.
I didn't change the subject. I just showed you. I put into context.
No context.
We got 20 blocks.
We did.
You almost lost to the Pistons.
Whoa.
How can you gloat about it?
I thought I told
you. What are you doing?
Hold up.
We need context.
Okay.
I gave you context.
Okay, context. This is what I do.
You should have said, man, I don't know what we're doing.
At Club Shay Shay, there's a couple of things I took off my menu because you just weren't sellers anymore. Excuses. I took that off the menu. I took QBR off the menu.
Okay.
I also took almost one off the menu because they were no go. They wasn't doing anything for me, Skip Bayless. The question was, how impressive, and you tried to make it to be a montage about LeBron. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I'm not. I'm proud of myself, actually, because I put this in context.
We won.
Wait a second. You miss a 3, you miss a layup, then you turn it over, then you miss a free throw, then you miss a 20-footer, then you miss a 3, then you miss a 20-footer as you're trying to slam the door, and you can't slam it.
What about that triple dub?
So with 45 seconds left, the Pistons still have life.
What about that triple dub?
Missed 20-footer.
What about that triple dub?
It's the most overrated stat.
Oh, now it's overrated. Now, you know what, Skip Bayless?
You know what? Here's the point about LeBron James. He should average a triple-double, and he does not.
No, we don't.
He should, with Anthony Davis alongside. That's an automatic nightly triple-double.
Skip.
That's what that should be.
Skip, if you think about it, Anthony Davis did not have a very good night shooting the basketball. He was only 7 of 16. So he didn't have a great night shooting the basketball. That happens sometimes. He's not going to shoot 50+% every single night, but I think the mark of a good team or a good team that's trying to become great is that you find ways to win. Because you're like, who cares about a game in January? Now, had they lost this game, and I say, well, Skip, it's just a game in January, but no. 20 blocks. We'll give you a second chance. You get the rebound, put it up. I dare you.
Okay.
AD say, get it out.
All right.
Dwight Howard say, get it out.
And the Pistons almost said, get out of Staples, Lakers.
Hold on. That's what they did on Friday night. Y'all was booed off the court.
And they should have been.
Why?
But they didn't have 2 starters. They didn't have Paul George or Pat Bev.
Oh, my goodness.
My goodness, that's two out of 5 of your defensive.
And guess what happened? And then you almost lose and gave up 132 points. What about this defensive team that you keep telling me about?
I keep telling you, that team just circles a date.
Exactly.
Circle a date, and they say, that one.
But
that one.
But Skip, you do understand, though. You're not going to see us in the first round. So you're circling a date. And see, sometimes a man can meet his destiny on the very road he took to.
I've heard that before.
You have. And you're going to hear it again. But guess what? When we cutting down the net, do they cut down the nets in the NBA? We don't do that, huh? But I will be there.
Do they?
Yeah, I just want you. We going on location.
Maybe you will.
The Clippers have a plan. LeBron does not have a plan.
They ain't got no plan.
LeBron plays all the way home every night.
No,
it's 37 minutes. It's 38 minutes.
Yeah, we try to win.
He leads the NBA in shots attempted in the fourth quarter as he attempts to stuff that stat sheet as he chases Kareem.
We ain't chasing no Kareem.
Yeah.
All we try to do, we try to get number 4. Skip, we can try to win ball games. That's what we trying to do. You think LeBron wants to play 35 minutes a night? They put him on the bench. I mean,
yeah, I do.
Skip. Anthony Davis.
I think he'd like to play 40 minutes.
Anthony Davis was minus 11, Skip.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, come on, bro. We have a lead. That's why you think he was plus 23. And you win by 7. Because when he goes to the bench, it goes to hell in a handbasket.
So the Clippers have decided when we meet the Lakers, we put them right back in their place, and our goal is to win the finals.
Our goal is to win games and win the finals. But we got due. Y'all not winning no more games from us. Yeah, we got due on that.
We'll
2020 starting off right.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's get to that game and see who's healthy.
Hey, no.
Yeah.
It's the Lakers versus the Clippers. That's all you need to know.
We'll see. I mean, maybe we're load managing.
Hey, we gonna put some. We got something for Luka. We got something for Luka on Friday.
Fun load managing is not fun
You
to
want something in
watch
that game?
as a
Well,
fan.
let's get 2 cases of
They
doing
should
that.
boo him for doing that.
Skip, that's the matter. Luka, the hottest thing going right now.
I don't like Luka. I don't love him. I like him. I respect him.
I
already told you what I thought about him.
And he always get up for his guy, his idol. I mean, when you go against your idols, idols become rivals.
Yeah.
That what Sharpe Poppy say.
All I know is Luka cost me how many cases did I lose on that? Yeah, it was that Friday night game at Dallas when LeBron is driving the ball down 3. I'm saying, what are you doing? You're going to dunk it and the game's going to be over. But he whips it down the baseline to Danny Green, who calmly swishes it. Danny Green went Ray Allen and just nailed it at the buzzer.
You said the Clippers had a plan. Got a plan, right? LeBron had a plan.
Oh, yeah. For one night, he had a plan.
Don't do that, Skip.
And what are they now saying about Luka? They're saying, his coach is complaining that everybody's trying to beat him up. What did the Lakers do that Friday night at Dallas? Just beat the hell out of him.
Yeah, we get physical, Skip.
Woo.
Yeah.
We get physical.
We get physical.
Dwight went cheap
Let's
on him.
get physical.
Yeah.
Physical.
Nope.
By the
we
way,
don't need
Dwight
to hear
did a
that. So Jerry Jones wasted no time in finding his next head coach. Mike McCarthy will lead the Cowboys into the 2020 season after sitting out this past year. McCarthy is reportedly open to keeping offensive coordinator Kellen Moore on staff in some capacity and expected to hire Mike Nolan as his defensive coordinator. Fox College football analyst and Super Bowl champ Reggie Bush with us this morning. We've been looking forward to having you just to get your take on this hire. In your opinion, McCarthy, good hire or bad hire for the Cowboys?
I think it was a very safe hire for Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys based on who their last head coach was, Jason Garrett, who had never had any NFL head coaching experience prior to this job. And he also had a personal relationship with Jerry Jones. He was a player for him and had a personal relationship. So I also think that personal relationship, Jerry Jones allowed that to affect his business because who do they always tell you not to do business with? Family and friends.
Yep.
Right? And so you bring in Mike McCarthy based on his coaching experience because that's what they said they wanted because he won a Super Bowl in 2010. But the game has changed so much since then. It's changed significantly since then. And the last 4 years, when I'm evaluating Mike McCarthy, the head coach, the last 4 years, he was 11-16-1 with one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL. Every year, year in and year out, we are mesmerized by Aaron Rodgers, what he can do on the field with his arms, with his legs. He can extend plays. But he won one time with them, and a lot of people say he should have won more games with Aaron Rodgers since then. And so Mike McCarthy this time around has to reinvent himself because it's not a pocket passer league anymore, right? The top 5 quarterbacks from this year, from regular season, number 1, Jameis Winston, pocket passer. Dak Prescott had a great year this year, but where did that get them, right? It got them 8-8. Number 3, Jared Goff. 4, Phillip Rivers, pocket passer. 5, Matt Ryan.
And guess
where are all those quarterbacks sitting right now?
That's a very good point.
Sitting at home.
First time since the merger, 70, that top 5 passes, none of them made the playoffs.
Oh, Shannon Sharpe could bring details like that.
The top 4 rushers.
That's really
So if I'm evaluating Mike McCarthy, the head coach, I didn't love the hire because if he's going to bring that same system from Green Bay and try to implement it into the Dallas Cowboys, I don't think it's going to work because this is not where the state of the game is right now, right? The Houston Texans beat Buffalo because of Deshaun Watson's ability to be able to scramble, right? To be able to extend plays with his legs. That's where the game is right now. And so that's what Mike McCarthy has to do this time around. The same thing Lamar Jackson did this offseason. He reinvented himself. That's the same thing that Mike McCarthy has to do this time around because I think if he tries to make Dak a pocket passer, that doesn't equal success, right? It doesn't translate to success. Aaron Rodgers this year was number 11. The year after Mike McCarthy leaves, where the Green Bay Packers at? The number 1 seed. And so that's what we have to chew on because that's the last thing that we've seen from Mike McCarthy.
Man, Reggie Bush just brought it.
Well, Skip, look, I said it yesterday. It's a good hire. This hire was gonna like, oh my God, did you see who Jerry got? Man, Jerry got this hot shot OC that lightened up college But Jerry says, this is the first time, Skip, I believe that Jerry believed that he has a Super Bowl because I don't think he thought Jerry thinks he's going to the Super Bowl, but realistically, he believes he has a Super Bowl team. When he hired Jason Garrett, I mean, that was a year after they had went 13-3, and Skip, they had lost in the divisional round to
Eli.
Eli. He's like, I'm not going to chance this team to a college guy or a first-year NFL head coach. I'm going to go with someone that's had previous experience because I believe this team is ready to take off. Mike McCarthy, look what I did. Jerry, for a guy that has as much as Jerry is easily wild.
He is.
For a guy that has it.
I would agree. No, he is.
So Mike went in there and like, Jerry, this is what I've been working on this offseason.
Yeah. I spent an offseason. I reinvented myself.
I got a 14-member team, analytics. All they do.
Sitting around.
Luda knew they know to be playing esports.
Exactly.
You know what? Mike might hire Reggie Bush.
I go in there and call some plays.
But Skip, look, I agree with Reggie, and I said this yesterday, Skip. I said, it's a good hire. It's not great.
No.
But for what Jerry needs, Mike McCarthy was the perfect fit because of all the guys that were available. He had the best resume. He can already say, Jerry, I've taken a team to the Super Bowl. And Jerry's like, well, you're right. All these other guys, if I bring in Urban Meyer, he's never coached in the NFL. If I bring in Lincoln Riley, I look at Lincoln Riley as a specialist. He's an offensive guy, Skip. His defense leaves a lot to be desired. His special teams are not great. Ain't like they running back punts and kickoff and blocking punts all over the place. So I look at him as a specialist. And he's like, these other guys, Marvin did an unbelievable job in Cincinnati.
Marvin Lewis.
But his resume is not like Mike. It's not like Mike McCarthy. So Mike McCarthy was safe. He's not going to wow you, but Jerry believed that this is the guy that can take us to where we need to be.
But why not interview more coaches?
Well,
why not interview some college coaches?
He interviewed, there's a report, he interviewed 10 before he hired Wade Phillips. And this time he interviewed 2 before he settled on, and one of the 2 is Mike McCarthy.
His last 3 Super Bowls came from
acquired, I think, by the Rooney Rule.
His last 3 Super Bowls came from coaches who came from college, Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer. So why not at least interview some?
And to your point, I needed a bombshell splash of a hire.
You did.
I needed your teammate, Urban Meyer. And I know it would have been high risk, but high reward. High risk because he's never coached a down in the National Football League. But, boy, he coached a bunch of downs in college football at the highest level.
He coached a bunch of guys that played in the NFL.
He sure did. One of them's name is Ezekiel Elliott. And I wanted somebody who would bring an edge, who would light a fire under a soft, underachieving 8-8 football team. If you want to, if you can figure out how to finagle Sean Payton out of New Orleans, or bring back Bill Cowher, or somehow talk Bill Belichick into leaving that sinkhole up there in New England and coming to Dallas and saving the day.
You might bring Tom Brady with him.
No, he won't.
You won't want that, do you?
I would take that.
So Dak,
I'd put Dak on ice.
Oh my goodness, Dak, you hear that?
I'd put him on ice.
I'm surprised. Okay.
So here's the point. I'm going to hark back to that Bleacher Report expose of last April about why Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy fell apart and Mike got fired. Reason number one was Mike McCarthy's scheme went stale, said the article, and he did not, to your point, adapt. He did not adapt. He started to get full of his own juice, was the quote in the story. So what did Mike do? PR. He went back into his laboratory up there in his house in Green Bay and spent the whole year off reinventing his scheme, right?
Gotta do something.
I'm not buying it, but he sold Jerry a whole bill of goods on this one, and Jerry swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. And then the article says that Mike, over the last 4 years, slowly checked out and lost his enthusiasm to the point that during Saturday walkthroughs his last year in Green Bay, he would sneak upstairs and get a massage in his office, which really did not please Aaron Rodgers, and I do not blame him for that, because really? Your head coach is getting a massage during your Saturday walkthrough? I've never heard of that before.
I've never heard of that either, no.
Okay, and then finally.
It's hard coaching in Green Bay.
When Ted Thompson first hired Mike McCarthy, he called him that he was full of Pittsburgh macho. He grew up in Pittsburgh. But there's an insider in the article, a personnel director, says that Mike McCarthy is a fake tough guy, that he talks a better game than he actually plays as a tough guy, which is why the article has many quotes saying that he created a soft culture in Green Bay.
Yeah, finesse, a finesse
So
culture.
wait, meet the new coach, same as the old coach. This is Jason Garrett all over again, because Jason created a very soft culture in Dallas.
And sometimes, Skip, when you have a great player, sometimes the lines get blurred. You don't realize that player is great, and you think it's me.
Right.
So he probably sold.
I think he thought it was him. I agree with you.
Well, look what he did when Aaron Rodgers was hurt, when Brett Favre was hurt. That's where he really struggled. And that's where I believe coaches really excel. That's where you really earn your money.
Look at Sean Payton when Drew Brees got hurt. Look at Kyle Shanahan when Jimmy Garoppolo, he's taking C.J. Beathard, he's taking guys, he's like
third-string quarterback.
Who are these guys? And winning ball games.
Yeah.
That's when you know a guy can coach.
That's true.
If you get Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, well, you should win.
Yep.
You got two of them.
Off top.
And Mike McCarthy was criticized in this article for never finding anybody and rarely benching anybody, so he didn't crack the proverbial whip at all. He's not that kind of guy. He wants to coach offense. He wants to throw the football a whole lot his way.
A lot.
Okay?
Skip, you got to have discipline. You got to have structure.
Yeah.
If you guys got to, listen, guys are going to skate. And if you let them, they'll keep, and some coaches, and that was the thing that Mike, Wade, I love Wade, but Wade's problem was he let guys, as long as you played for Wade on Sunday, you can be a little late, you can be 5-6 pounds overweight. Mike Shanahan's like, hell no, you're not. It's $50 a pound, and it's $100, and it's $150, $200. So pretty soon, like, whoa, okay, I'm getting fined $20,000 for weight.
Wow.
You got to hold guys accountable.
The best coaches always strike a little fear in the locker room.
Gotta have
They're
it.
a little afraid of this guy. He might just
Just a little.
Release somebody.
Yep.
Yeah, and they need to get back to that toughness aspect that you're talking about for the Dallas Cowboys, because right now, this is a talented team. But
So they say.
So they say.
They got a lot of talent on that team.
They
so
do
they
have
say.
a lot of talent.
They do.
But this was Jerry Jones' this was his time to win right now.
Okay, and I think he just hired a more accomplished Jason Garrett.
I think Reggie's word said it all. Safe. It really seems to be the right fit for the situation. No mercy. Derrick Henry led the league in rushing yards this season, and he didn't slow down against the Patriots in Foxborough. Henry racked up 182 yards and a touchdown on the ground, and he also accounted for 75% of the Titans' total yards in their 20-13 win. So, Reggie, are you seeing all-time greatness when you look at Derrick Henry?
100%. He's a big body running back in the finesse league, right? He's as big as a linebacker.
Sure.
It's Shannon Sharpe playing running back. That's what it is. That's what you're looking at.
Is he really?
Shannon Sharpe playing running back.
Is he really?
Well, he's 250.
250.
I'm 245.
I think you're 260.
I'm 245. I'm 245. I'm 245.
That's Eddie
246
George.
this morning.
That's Eddie George playing running back in this league right now.
Bigger than Eddie George.
He is. He is.
I mean, we saw in the last game against the Patriots, man, them safeties and linebackers did not want to tackle him towards the end of that game. No. When they were running the clock down, it was one corner. I don't know who he was, but he was running away from Derrick Henry.
He's like, I'm going to let you get to the sideline so I can push you out of bounds. This one right here.
Yeah, that one right there. But he's built to last. He's built to go deep into the playoffs. He's built for the cold weather. He's everything that you want in a running back when you get to the postseason and when you're trying to make a push towards the end of the season to get to the playoffs or to win a division or whatever it is. So I do think he has Hall of Fame potential.
Wow.
I think he can be, one of the best to ever do it. I mean, look at his size and his speed, what he brings to the game. It's just tough to tackle a guy like that. He could block a defensive end probably by himself. That's how big he is, and that's what you get with him. And it's just, this game is going to be interesting against the Baltimore Ravens.
You got that right.
Because
it might be over in an hour, though. Everybody going to be running the ball. The clock ain't going to stop.
Exactly. I don't know if it's going to be a running clock, but I mean, there's going to be so much running in that football game. This is going to be an old school smash mouth, buckle your chin strap type football game. A lot of hard hits in the trenches. And I can't wait to see how it plays out. But, yeah, I love Derrick Henry. I love what he's bringing to this game right now. He's not revolutionizing, but he's kind of bringing it back to that old school football look and feel again. Skip,
I'm not there yet. I need to see more. But I believe he's a top 5 back. Hey, Cleveland, did you watch what Tennessee did?
Ooh.
You got Nick Chubb.
Man.
You play through your running back when you got a guy like that, Skip. You see what happened was, and Reggie, you'll understand this. Derrick Henry is what we call, Skip, a long strider.
Yeah.
If you don't make him check his feet, if you don't make him change direction, he gets the ball, he goes 1, 2, 3 to the line of scrimmage, kiss the baby. He's going to fall forward for 5 yards.
That's it. Yeah.
If you notice, Skip, they did what the defense started doing, what we call on the offense side, mugging. They started putting Hightower in the A-gap.
Yeah,
because now we want to make him cut back. We want to make him check those feet so we can get people there. Because if we let him get ahead of steam, Skip, the first half, every time he touches the ball, he's getting 8, he's getting the first down. I had never seen anything like that. I'm like, every time?
Every time.
I mean, at some point in time, you got to get the guy, let him get 2 yards, not a first down. He's getting the first down on every carry.
Yeah, in obvious run situations, too.
Obvious run situations. But, Skip, they made it. See, there's a difference between running the football and having commitment to run the football. Mike Vrabel went in there and said, we running the deep football. It's amazing that he could, Skip, they went down the field. He carried the ball 5 times for 50 yards, all of them.
All of them.
And didn't come out.
Yeah.
It's all like.
And then he caught one pass for 22 yards and took it down to the 1.
Yeah.
Skip, he's so big, but he's faster than you think. Because he's a strider. Now, once he opens up, if you saw the last game of the season when they played the Houston Texans and the carry that he passed Nick Chubb for the rush, he went 53 yards, he went through the line, he stepped to the right, and he got going. You know, he got a 99-yarder up on his belt.
He did.
So he got more, but Skip, I need to see more. But he's a top 5 back. When you think of back, I still like Saquon Barkley, Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, but don't count on Zeke out. But Skip, Tennessee Titans are really the only team this year that committed to say, Derrick Henry, run us home. And he did that.
They had Marcus Mariota and Ryan Tannehill. What else are they going to do?
But, hey, you got Nick Chubb, who led the league for rushing for the better part of 6 weeks.
I got it. Okay, I do appreciate your point. You need to see a little more.
Yes.
But it was significant that man went into that stadium against that coach who is notorious for saying, I will take away what you do best.
Yeah.
And he ran for 182 yards. You're kidding.
Nobody's done. I don't remember the last team to do that.
Nobody's done that. So I told you yesterday, I'm watching thinking, this is a moose who runs like a deer. That's what he is. Because he ran 4.5 at the combine, but he even looks faster to me than that. And you know speed.
The game speed is different than that 40 speed.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw supreme game speed. I saw quickness from 250 pounds. 250 pounds who can, he's got a little wiggle in the hole, but he's like a bigger Eric Dickerson to me because Eric ran upright like that. But Eric was 225.
Yeah, 225, 230. But Skip, this guy runs the contact. Yeah. And that's Skip, you know what, Skip, you ain't trying to tackle no defensive end no late third and fourth quarter.
This late into the season, into the postseason.
It's cold.
Yeah.
No.
Cold, right. It's cold.
So
nobody trying to tackle like that in the cold.
Sometimes the best trade is the one you don't make.
Yep. Yeah.
And the Titans attempted to trade him at the trade deadline in 2018 and failed and hung on to him because at that point he was just their short yardage back behind Deion Lewis of the Patriots, right? And all of a sudden, He had the breakout game on that Thursday night. Remember the one against the Jaguars?
Yeah.
And he ran wild on that. Yeah, he had the 99-yarder leading to 238 total, and all of a sudden he was off to the races.
But Skip, the thing is with him, all you had to do was go back and look at him at Alabama.
Yeah.
His junior year, his sophomore year, Skip, he only had 172 touches, and he ran for 1,000 yards. Now, he had to split carries. Once he became the feature back, it's over 2,200, and he runs you to a national title.
And a Heisman. Yep.
Now, last year, you splitting carries with him and Deion Lewis. Skip, Deion Lewis is a great compliment.
Yeah, he is.
Throw it screen passes, stuff like little gap. That guy needs touches.
He's the number one.
He needs 25, 30 touches a game for you to get the full benefit of it. And Mike Vrabel I love Mike Vrabel, because Mike Vrabel learned a lot. Because you see how he ran the clock down on Coach Belichick?
Oh, man.
The very thing that Coach Belichick do, find every loophole,
What he was doing.
and Mike Vrabel on the sideline, I will get you.
Bruh.
Hey,
I loved it.
Take another penalty. Okay, start the clock again. Take another penalty. And then they jump off. So he takes almost 2 minutes off the
He
clock.
pulled it off.
Yeah.
Beat Coach Belichick, and Coach Belichick beat everybody else. The first time you can honestly say, Skip, Coach Belichick got out coached in a game.
You did.
Whew.
He
How often do we say that?
He got him.
But this time around against Baltimore, they're going to need to score more than 14 points to beat Baltimore.
Skip, this is a game you can appreciate. This old Big 8 football, this Nebraska, Oklahoma. They're going to run the ball. Somebody getting 45 carries.
But I think we're going back far. I think this is Jim Brown football.
Somebody going to sleep in the trenches, too.
They're going to be 80 carries probably between these two teams.
Yeah.
Because Baltimore going to run 45 times. Between the quarterback, Lamar, and Gus Edwards and Hill and Ingram, if Ingram's healthy, and he's getting it 30-plus.
Yeah.
It was also Henry's 26th birthday on Saturday. Did you see that?
That's right. That was a storm. You remember the storm?
Day.
Storm. They had a storm up there, Henry. What they call that storm? They had a storm that blew through that was named Henry.
Really?
Yeah, not Derrick Henry, an actual storm. An actual storm.
No, they did. You started to use the word revolutionary. I think we're heading there.
Yeah, it could be.
But Skip, because remember they said the running back, it's valued. The running back position is dead.
Valued. Yep.
No.
Not
when you see this.
When you see Lamar Jackson, you see what Baltimore, what they're doing.
Yeah.
You still need to run the football.
And that's why when we talked about Mike McCarthy, the state of the game is different, right? The game has changed. It's going back towards we're seeing running backs and running quarterbacks start to slowly but surely climb and climb and climb. And that's where the state of the game is right now. So that's why it's perfect for a running back like Derrick Henry because of how big he is. And he's just as big or bigger than a lot of these linebackers.
And nobody practices tackling anymore.
Nobody.
So the first time you get to tackle somebody is on Sunday, and you got to tackle that.
Nah.
If he can go into Baltimore and take that game over,
I know.
That's legendary.
How good are these games? Okay, I'm excited.
This is the game I'm looking forward to.
Right?
me too.
No mercy.
The Patriots season came to a shocking end in the wild card round against the Titans on Saturday night. Derrick Henry ran for 182 yards in the upset victory, which we just talked about. But the story everyone is talking about right now is the possible end of the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick era. The 42-year-old Brady is an unrestricted free agent this offseason. And after the game, he said retirement was, quote, pretty unlikely. Meanwhile, Belichick said that bringing Brady back was not a one-way street. Fox Sports NFL analyst James Harrison with us now. James, who stays, who goes in New England?
The business of it says that Belichick stays because I can get more time out of him than I can get out of Brady. If you're lucky, you got another year or two. If the sky falls 3, Bill can give you another 10, 15 years of coaching, and you see, what he's done. And if you even go down his tree of coaches that he has produced, 3 of the coaches that beat him this year was from his tree. Yeah. So if they can get past the personal relationship that Kraft and Brady has and look at the business sense of it, it dictates that you have to go with Belichick.
That's Mr. Kraft is playing a dangerous game because it clouded Jerry Jones' judgment with Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett should have been fired years ago. even if you give him the benefit of the doubt and said you believe he should have been gone after the 2012 season. But after 2015, he could have been gone.
Okay, but now we're talking about the greatest quarterback ever, not Jason Garrett.
That being said, you can't let Skip. They moved on, and I get. And people are like, well, they moved on because they have somebody. There will come a time you're going to have to make a tough decision, and therein lies why you don't get close, Skip. You're going to have to move on. You're going to have to cut him. You're going to have to trade him, or he's going to retire. But the situation's going to change, and the closer you are to that person, the more difficult it is.
Yes.
That's why Coach Belichick has never got close to anyone.
I agree.
That's why he can wipe his.
I believe Belichick and Brady are a lot closer than what you see on TV and what they want to portray as far as what they say on social media. Because I've been in that locker room, I've seen them interact. I've seen Kraft, Brady, and Belichick interact all together, and they're closer than what you think. But the business sense of the game, it's 100 years. We're on 100 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be another 100 years of this. Okay, you want to be competitive at where you're at in New England. To be that, you're going to have to keep a hold of someone that can be around longer, and Belichick is the person that can be around longer.
I don't believe they hate each other, but it's Coach Belichick hasn't developed that close relationship where I go eat with you, you go eat with me, we hang out together, and clouds my judgment because he already tried to move on. Skip, how much more clear can it be? I tried to divorce you one time before. Yeah. And I was overruled by someone that signs my check. If it was left up to me, bro, you were gone 2 years ago. Truth be told.
And then, bruh, took you to 2 more Super Bowls.
But guess what? He had already taken you to 5. So he knew what Brady was, but he also knows that being in this league as long as he has, if I don't have that bridge transition, I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers. I win 4 in the 70s, and I don't have anybody to replace Terry Bradshaw, and I got to wait to 2004 before I get Ben Roethlisberger. Or the Miami Dolphins are still trying to replace Dan Marino, who retired in 2000. Coach Belichick's not me. Skip, he's going to stay around because guess what? I think it's about 45 wins short of Don Shula. He knows if he gets that record, Skip, he ain't going. Ain't nobody touching that. Ain't nobody going to have what we see from the Patriots. No matter what you think of them, they cheated or Brady, yada, yada, yada. You're never going to see that.
Oh, yeah.
And Coach Belichick's willing to bring it up.
Okay. I remind you, relationships, player-coach relationships are two-way streets. So I've told you before that many close friends of Brady have told me over the years that he has been constantly sort of amazed and amused by the fact Belichick will not socialize with him in the offseason. To your point, arm's length. Again, they have a fine working relationship, and they can joke and kid occasionally, and you've seen it in the locker room. But in the offseason, they have never once played golf together except the one time at Pebble Beach Prime they were paired together, but it wasn't their choice. It was the tournament's choice.
Right.
So Brady's often wondered, we kind of live, we're in the same neighborhood. We could actually maybe go play golf one time in the offseason because Brady they both love to play.
Yes.
Nope, because arm's length. And I respect that.
Yeah.
But that works both ways because now Brady feels no loyalty, especially to Belichick. There's no love there, to like deep tie, deep bond. So to me, the tables have turned because I believe Tom is going to sit back and evaluate a team that Peter King wrote the other day is ancient. And it is. It's ancient. 11 of 22 starters on Saturday night were either 29 or older, and there were a bunch more who played a bunch of snaps who were 29 or older. By NFL standards, it's an ancient football team. Now, Belichick has won with older football teams because he'd bring in James Harrison for a pop to get me to a Super Bowl,
He likes those older guys, Skip, because he knows they're not going to make the mistakes that a young guy would make.
I got that. But at some point, you just get flat out old.
You do.
And it's starting to look like a really old football team that can't be immediately fixed next year. I don't think you can just snap your fingers and fix what we saw on Saturday night.
They got a lot of free agents, not just Tom Brady, but the McCarthy and the Van Noys. They got a lot of people that's up, Skip.
Okay, and I'm not going to beat this dead horse again. Earlier in the show, I detailed to you how many swings and misses Bill Belichick has made on not keeping a player or not drafting a player, and it added up to the worst supporting cast I believe any quarterback had this year in the NFL was Brady's supporting cast at the end of the year.
But Skip, he gets a pass for all the swings and misses because he's won with other people's swings and misses.
Right.
So we forget that he's terrible at drafting. Outside of Gronk and Tom Brady, and I mean, look, I don't even count Tom Brady.
You
I don't
can't
count Tom
that.
Brady's skill.
You don't count on Tom Brady to be a six-rounder to come and do
the
what he's
Gronks
done.
and the Richard Seymours.
All right, I got it. But my point to you is, I believe Robert Kraft, in the very near future, will preside over a very private sit-down, maybe a dinner with Brady and Belichick, the three of them, very private, and he will try to, and he can be a silver-tongued, you know what?
Yeah.
He's very persuasive.
Right.
He will try to convince them, let's do it one more time. Let's see what happens next year. Let's see if we can get it right next year. And to your point, again, if you're forced to, you'd want to keep the coach who can go for 15 or whatever more
At least 10.
Okay,
Right.
at least 10. Okay, I got your sort of approach to that.
Right.
But you also know that if Tom Brady goes to, let's say, the Los Angeles Chargers and goes and wins another Super Bowl, then you swung and missed again. Then the joke is on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that Robert Kraft, from the quotes that he told Peter King on Saturday,
Right.
that he is going to pull out all the stops to convince Tom to please come back and finish with us.
Or retire.
Or retire,
Yeah.
which
He
would be
said
the optimal
Now-
way to go.
Stay-
Yeah, I'm sure he could manage to get something in there or get
Okay.
something that looks great enough to say,
Okay.
you know what, I'm going to retire as a Patriot, even though.
All right.
'Cause
You
here's the-
mean now or after another year?
No, maybe now.
Okay, well, you mean just talk him into that's enough?
Talk him into, hey, that's enough.
I don't think you're going to win that one.
Let me ask you a question,
wants to
Skip.
play.
Let's just say for the sake of argument. Obviously, I think everybody believes that Tom wants to play. Ideally, probably maybe his ideal situation would be return to New England. Let's just say he wants to return. Coach Belichick says no. Mr. Kraft says yes. That'll be twice.
That would be twice.
That Mr. Kraft.
That's why I told you at some point, will Belichick say,
Coach
I
Belichick
want
said,
out?
hold on,
Right.
wait a minute.
So what happens then? Does Belichick say, you know what, let me out of here?
Woo!
He doesn't have a
Let
contract.
me go to the
in next year
Cowboys,
either.
see if they want to fire the guy. They
Too
just,
late.
Oh, I told you that. I would have taken
Skip Bayless will get some of his money to get Coach Belichick
Yeah,
out
I
of
would. As much as I don't like what he has done to Tom Brady, if you told me I could have him in Dallas, thank you.
No,
You'd be fine?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be looking for a new partner. Because I ain't finna sit up here and have you gloat every Monday come in here. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have that. Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl.
constant.
That-
James said I have to come here every Monday and talk Cowboys, and he would not love that.
no. That would
Because
not
they
be a
go
good
with
situation
Coach
with him
Belichick.
there. Yes.
Coach Belichick in Dallas.
Yep. Well, he's
That's
going to want to
automatic
go
chip.
somewhere.
Yeah.
So, and I thought he might be in play for the Giants. We're going to talk about this in a
Yeah.
little bit, but it sounds like they have now moved in another shocking direction with one of his assistants.
They got a limb from the tree.
Yep.
Or maybe a leaf
Hey,
off the tree.
Hey, it's his tree, though. His tree is not doing too bad now.
No.
The tree doing good. That man
Yeah.
is not
How many other
looking-
people
Yeah.
can say they got a tree that's growing like that? cut a limb off here, plant it, and watch it go.
Yeah.
They're doing good.
I do not think Tom Brady is going to be a Patriot next year, and I do believe he is going to play football.
I know he wants to play.
Just for the record, guys, his home in Brookline still for sale. It's gone down $8 million. So for $33.9, you guys can
Drop
live
another 8 and
in
I'm
a
going to get it.
mansion. Well,
Drop
you
another 8
don't
and
need
I'll
a
get it.
mansion.
It's in Massachusetts,
So,
man.
how are
Listen,
you
that
gonna
house
get
gonna
here?
be there for
He
the
can drop
next
in 30
5
million.
years.
It has a yoga
Hey.
studio. It has a farm kitchen. It has whatever you
farm
need.
kitchen?
Farm. What's a farm kitchen?
Farm-inspired kitchen is
No.
You could put a cow in there and milk it, or
Country
what?
style. I don't
No.
know. I don't know. It's supposed to be really fancy.
Shannon
No?
Sharpe has a mansion in Bel Air. What does he want one in Brookline?
You don't need
for?
anything in
The
Brooklyn.
upkeep, anytime, anything over a couple of $1 million, you talk about the upkeep.
Upkeep.
yeah.
I can't even pay the light bill in that place.
Hey, I believe Tom and
Electricity might be a
Giselle
little
are about
cheaper.
to be your new neighbor.
Come on, Tommy.
There you go. Well, Jerry Jones wasted no time in making Mike McCarthy the next Cowboys head coach after they officially moved on from Jason Garrett. Brett Favre played under McCarthy in Green Bay and thinks it will be a good fit in Dallas. Take a listen.
Obviously, he's the owner. Everything starts and stops with him. Mike's a smart guy. He knows that. And he knows that maybe at times Jerry will interfere or say things that you necessarily don't agree with or don't like. But it is what it is. But I'll say this, Mike, he's one of those guys from Pittsburgh. He's hard-nosed. He's tough. He's an aggressive personality. And if there's anyone out there presently that can handle that, it's Mike. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Well, Shannon, do you agree with Favre here?
No, hell no. He'll be just like the rest of them, Skip. He'll just fall in line and Jerry will carry about his business. Everybody know Pittsburgh. Man, they need to stop this. They think everybody that comes from Pittsburgh is tough.
Tough.
You know that?
We should have talked to James.
You know, everybody from Pittsburgh is tough. It's like, man, I'm
James
from
is
Brooklyn.
tough.
I'm from the Bronx. Okay. Y'all get fired on too. Man, stop this with this.
What is
oh, he's
the
tough.
Pittsburgh thing?
Skip, Jerry's going to do what Jerry, the boss. That's what Jerry signs the check. He's made it abundantly clear. If I'm paying for everything, you don't think I'm going to have a say? He said that with Jim. He said, I didn't, I hate to say this, but I had final say with Jim. I had final say with Bill Parcells. He's going to do that, Skip. There's going to be a situation. Zeke can run for 272 yards. The media is going to talk to Jerry outside of the locker room before they ever get a chance to talk to Zeke. That's just the way it is. Jerry's okay. As a matter of fact, Jerry's not just okay with that. Jerry would have it no other way. It's easy. Mike McCarthy has never had a situation where Ted Thompson or Mark Murphy second-guessed him publicly. Not maybe behind closed doors, but the public never heard of it. This is what he's going to have to deal with. And his other bosses were fans. Well, they second-guessed him all the time, especially after he kept losing in the playoffs, Skip.
Yep.
But Jerry's a different animal. Everybody says they can handle that. You know, Skip, when I post my photos about my breakfast, people ask, well, Shannon, how do you eat the same thing? Because when you do it for 20 years, it becomes easy. Mike McCarthy never had a boss that second-guessed him publicly. So how do you handle that, Skip? When after a game, we should have went for it on fourth down. I don't like that call on offense. I thought we should have run Zeke more instead of threw more. How is that going to sit with him? He go exactly right. He going to sit right there and just take it. He ain't no handling it. You just deal with it. It ain't no, Jerry, can you stop? What are you going to come out public and say, well, I wish Jerry wouldn't do that. I wish Jerry wouldn't second-guess me. I'm doing the best I can. Team's doing the best I can. Is he going to say something like that? Is he going to tell Jerry to his face, Jerry, I wish you wouldn't do that. I wish you wouldn't second-guess me publicly. No, he going to bite his lip like the rest of them and go ahead and put his head down and continue to work. So he's not going to handle anything.
Has Jerry ever hired a coach who has won a Super Bowl?
No.
No. Interesting.
Interesting.
Mike McCarthy's got a big ego. He does not have a personality to match.
Right.
He's got a little personality. So in press conference settings like the one we're about to witness.
Is it happening today or tomorrow?
I don't know when. I haven't heard of
I haven't heard
time
that.
and
They're probably going to do it
place
from
for
Jerry's house.
I don't
Well,
think
maybe
so.
they're still living together.
I don't know.
Stayed over.
I'm going to get to
stayed
that
for
in
a
just
while.
a minute. But at that press conference, I promise you, Jerry will do most of the talking, and Mike will be just fine with that. And I also promise you that this Mike has talked to Mike Nolan, longtime defensive coordinator, friend of his, who hired him when he was the head coach in San Francisco
49ers, yep.
and let Mike be his offensive coordinator.
Correct.
They've had several conversations. We can handle Jerry. We'll just ignore Jerry.
Right.
Well, speaking of tough guys, I'm going to tell you this about Jerry. I know him very well. I have seen this man lose his temper. Not a pretty sight.
Yeah.
Jerry's a tough guy. I don't care what you say. When you plunge out there into the oil and gas fields and you lose your shirt and then you gain your fortune, you have to have some level of toughness. He was a starting offensive guard for a national championship team at Arkansas. I have seen him get mad, and you wouldn't want to mess with him. He's actually bigger than you think. So if push came to shove and Jerry got in a fight with somebody, again, depending on what the guy's age was, my money might be on Jerry because he's the guy you'd have to.
But the guy better be 80. Because Jerry's 77.
Well, what I'm saying, he's the one of those guys you'd have to kill to whip because he's got that kind of crazy toughness to him. So let's not underestimate his toughness. So you can't push him either.
Right,
okay?
of course.
Okay.
Skip, you can't tell your boss what he can and can't say.
Yep.
He the boss.
Okay, so this is why this whole idea of he stayed at Jerry's house is being overestimated.
Okay.
Because once upon a time, you remember Terry Donahue.
I do.
20 years was the head coach at UCLA and then went on to become the GM of the San Francisco 49ers during the T.O. saga. He was the one who said, I've seen enough of T.O., I'm going to ship him out of here. The point was that in 1998, Jerry Jones attempted to hire Terry Donahue to coach the sort of the end of Troy Aikman's career in Dallas because he had been Troy's coach at UCLA.
Correct.
And I know for a fact, because Terry told me this story, that he was invited to spend the weekend at Jerry's house. And it's the same house in Highland Park that now Mike McCarthy has
Weekends
stayed
at Bernie's, you know.
It's one of those, okay? And he stayed through the weekend, and it was all fun and games until Jerry slid that little piece of paper across the table that had $500,000 on it, which was kind of lowballing for a head coach.
Right.
And Terry said, would you mind if I make a phone call? And he went back to his bedroom. This is a story he told me. And he called his lawyer/agent named Marvin Demoff, who happens to be yours, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So he called Marvin, and Marvin said, don't sign it. Don't do it. We need to have another negotiating session. And Jerry got sideways with Marvin, and this thing blew apart. And the quote, this is out of the LA Times story of that day. Apparently, Donahue was bothered by a number of aspects of how Jones has structured the Cowboys, taking such a hands-on approach to running the club. Duh. You know, like, okay, it was already operating in 1998.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay?
So not only you got a hands-on approach, you lowballing me. At least if you gonna have a hands-on approach, give me top dollar, because I got to deal with your bull jive. And I got to coach the team, deal with your bull jive. I need top dollar for that.
I would be shocked if he paid Mike McCarthy top dollar, top NFL dollar, because he just doesn't believe in paying the coach a lot, because what's Jerry's mantra? I coach the coach.
Right.
That's what Al Davis taught him in 1989, his first year as owner.
He looks at it, it should be a privilege for you to coach my football team.
Yeah.
It should be a privilege for you to play my football team.
You know what? After, ended so badly with Aaron Rodgers, I believe that Mike McCarthy does see it as a golden opportunity to show Green Bay how you screwed up and fired me.
Right.
Right?
Dude, can you imagine? We normally get this, Skip, when players, you know, with Manning, Brady, but can you imagine if the Cowboys and the Packers met in next year's playoff? You already know the story, Skip.
Just got chills.
You already know the story. This would be like Gruden and the Raiders. You remember that Super Bowl, Skip, Tampa, when he was in Tampa?
Yeah.
All over again.
You like that?
But that'll be our game, too. Oh, Aaron Rodgers gonna do it, man. Aaron Rodgers do it, man.
I'm afraid Aaron Rodgers might do him in. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is like voodoo at Jerry. He's got some.
But don't worry about it.
Doll.
First of all, that'll be years down the road because y'all not making the playoff next year.
Well, I think you just stumbled into that and said, what if? And I think you were thinking they might.
I was thinking 2021, 2022.
Year.
Yeah, okay. I ain't say next year.
What did you say their record would be? 9-7?
I'll be nice.
Yesterday.
Because Skip is really hard. I mean, it's early in the year. So, I mean, the new year just started. I don't want Skip to take it too hard. 9-7.
I'm unfortunately feeling a real solid 8-8 next year.
Real solid.
Yeah, because this is a solid coach.
You go 8-8, you might get your wish that what you got for Jason Garrett. You might get fired. You go 8-8.
I think I just got Jason McCarthy, right?
Safe choice right now. No mercy. Well, the day after the Cowboys found their new coach, the Giants have reportedly found theirs as well. New York is finalizing a deal with Patriots special teams and wide receivers coach Joe Judge to be their next head coach. The Giants have also requested to speak with Jason Garrett to be their offensive coordinator. Interesting stuff. Shannon, your reaction to the news.
What? They're going too far with this now. I mean, I understand a branch, but they get a leaf off the tree and think it's going to bear fruit.
This is a leaf.
Not to be confused with Judge Joe Brown. Joe Judge, I guess they're hoping to strike lightning like the Ravens struck special teams coach when they hired John Harbaugh, because he wasn't a quote-unquote a position. He's a special teams coordinator. And we see how that's turned out. And maybe the Giants are hoping they can have that level of success. He worked 3 years as the Patriots, 8 years with Coach Saban at Alabama for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
He was also this year. He was the special teams and wide receivers coach.
Never heard of that before. Special teams and wide receivers.
Yeah, normally you have one job. you coach one position. This isn't college or high school where the OC is offensive coordinator, the quarterbacks coach, all that stuff. This is the NFL.
And by the way, he presided over the worst group of wide receivers in Patriots history.
But he got the job with the strength of his special teams. They were very good.
Okay.
So I guess, Panthers get Matt Rule. Wow. Boy, these guys, These guys coming out of nowhere getting head coaches. Skip, they thought Joe Judge was going to take the job at Mississippi State because that's where he went to school. Yeah, he's like, why would I take that job? I can get me an NFL job.
It was reported he was offered the gig and turned it down for the Giants.
Look, all the jobs. Skip, look, let's not. I don't want to minimize or try to take for granted. There's only 32 head coaching jobs, but obviously, when you talk about the Giants, Skip, you talk about a cornerstone franchise.
Cornerstone. Big deal.
He got it.
Big Apple.
He got it.
Joe Judge?
Joe.
What? It's sort of like Daniel Jones?
Oh.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones?
They got a lot of common.
Huh.
Your reaction, Skip?
This is beyond Cliff Kingsbury to me because I know Cliff had been fired for being a sub-500 coach at Texas Tech, but at least he had been a head coach.
Correct.
So you got some idea of how to run an organization. Joe Judge has no idea how to run one. He was muzzled like all the assistants are in New England, so he's never even he's not even spoken to the media, to my knowledge. Maybe some reporter here or there.
Maybe at the Super Bowl, Skip, because everybody you never get a opportunity there. But that's it.
But I don't remember him at the Super Bowl. He's only 38 years of age. And by the way, my first reaction to this whole landscape right now is they're just hiring African-American coaches right and left. Not?
Yeah.
Like not? What's happened to the Rooney Rule? It's not working. It's not working.
It was Skip, the spirit. I get what they're trying to do in spirit, but Skip did look.
Matt Rule? Are you kidding me? I watched Matt Rule's Baylor teams twice this year against my Oklahoma Sooners. They had a 31-10 lead at halftime at home and lost to Oklahoma. Then they lost to Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game.
And get run off the field by Georgia.
By Georgia, run off the field. What happened? How did you become? You were the assistant offensive line coach for 1 year in New York, and suddenly you're the hottest NFL candidate, and Carolina snaps you up? For what? What have you ever done? Show me.
And then they told, if I'm Jason, first, and they said they're waiting, they found what'd you say to speak to Jason?
Permission to speak with Jason.
As the coordinator.
For what? Listen. If I'm ever married, my wife files paperwork for a divorce. I'm not waiting till the divorce is finalized for me to start talking to someone else. You've already fired me, Jerry Jones. I'm going to New York. I don't care what you say.
It's too soon.
I mean, technically, you're still...
Technically, you filed a paperwork.
Okay. But at first, I thought maybe they wanted him to be the head coach, but they just want him to be the coordinator and sort of the quasi-assistant head coach because he's the guy with head coaching experience.
Well, what do you think of that?
Uh-oh.
I don't think these Giants fans are jumping for joy.
I don't think they're
jumping
for joy.
They're not jumping for joy for either hire.
You know, I do think Jason is a much better coordinator than a head coach.
Right.
So if they could convince him to do that, I don't know, is any job left now? Cleveland is left. Could Jason become in play at Cleveland? I have no idea.
Man, I agree with you, Skip. I don't understand is that you got to basically have Mike Tomlin's success for an extended period of time, and then they'll let you struggle. Steve Wilkes gone after 1 year. Hugh Jackson, okay, whatever that situation. And now we're starting to see that dysfunctionality. Can anybody coach in Cleveland?
Right.
Because they fire after a year and a half, you're gone.
But you're hiring so many white guys who are unqualified to me, right? Matt Rule's not qualified. Joe Judge is not qualified.
Well, they did. I guess anybody that's under Coach Belichick. At least Brian Flores says I did get an opportunity.
Okay. And
this is ridiculous.
Doing very well with it. You would think that would
yeah.
encourage others to open their door, but not yet.
No.
And what are we down to? 4 African-American?
Brian Flores, Mike Tomlin.
Oh, of color.
Anthony Lynn, 3.
Anthony Lynn and then Ron Rivera.
Ron Rivera, yes.
Color.
So 4.
Okay. All right. Not good enough. And now we just continue to see guy after no-name guy get jobs.
Because the guy that's doing the hiring is hiring the guys that look like them.
That is correct. Yep.
I don't know. The Giants fans, and just to be a sports fan in New York right now, they have not had a lot of success as of late.
Between the Knicks, the Giants, and the Jets, good luck with that.
No mercy.
In 2 games back with the Seahawks, Marshawn Lynch has carried the ball a total of 18 times and has found the end zone in each game. Now, Pete Carroll wants to see more beast mode and says that Lynch's role will increase in their divisional matchup against the Packers. So, Shannon, how much impact will Marshawn have against Green Bay?
I don't believe he's going to have a lot much, Skip. He's had 18 carries in 2 games for 41 yards, 2.5 yards, 2.3 a carry in 2 games. He has 2 touchdowns now. That 5-yard TD run against the Eagles reminded you a little bit of old beast mode, but I don't think he's going to have only one of his 18 carries, Skip, is going for 10-plus yards. I don't think he's going to have that big of an impact. Travis Homer has gotten the lion's share of the carries, so I don't believe he'll have that much of an impact. I find it funny now, they want to hand the ball on the goal line to Marshawn Lynch. When it really mattered, they didn't want to hand the ball to her. I heard that Chris Collinsworth was really playing that up on.
That's kind of funny. Oh, you heard about it?
I heard about it. I wasn't listening, but I heard about it.
All I know is that late in the first half at Philadelphia, the play of the game was the run of the game by Marshawn Lynch. It was only 5 yards, but it felt like a 50-yard beastquake. Am I right?
Yes.
Because he got tackled about 4 times, and he fought his way into the end zone, and it set the tone for Seattle's road win at Philadelphia. And again, he had, 7 yards on 6 carries, but it really didn't matter because the impact of that one run, it just resonated to me through the whole second half. It's the presence that he brings to the locker room and the huddle.
Right.
You say, we got him. You know, he's on our side. He's back. And again, do I expect him to run for 182 yards? I do not. But I do think they should.
They would take 80.
Yeah, they should feed the beast a little more. And I think he's starting to play his way into a little better shape.
Well, Skip, I think they're going to have to feed him more because I think it's going to take more than 17 points in order to beat Green Bay in Green Bay.
Yep, I would agree with that. But could he get 50 or 60 key yards, like tone-setting yards?
That's going to be asking an awful lot.
I don't know. I think he's got it in him. So, and I'm not surprised that Pete Carroll said we are going to feed him.
To go back, your Mike McCarthy hire looking like Lombardi compared to what the Giants just got.
Oh, that is it for us. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports, one of one.